disputed goal call. But you know what? It happens. Rider's not going to dwell on it. They're going to take it and run and see if they can continue that run through Penn State towards the championship.
Oh, well. We await the start of this one. We know we're a little bit late here. We're already up to 10-6, and we do appreciate everybody tuning in here on the Cross Ice feed, combined with IYM Sports Radio's Tom Wilms will have the call for this game.
Thank you. As Penn State came into this game 10-0 in the league. Ranked number 2 in the Southeast. They have already punched their ticket to St. Louis for the national championship, while Rider 6-4 on the season, at least in the league. Number 8 in the Southeast. They'll play Bowling Green in the regional next week in Penn-Saucon. Penn State coming away with a tough win against Temple yesterday by a score of 3-1, while it was, as David said, a 6-5 win for Rider on their way in here. Excuse me, got caught with a little bubble in my throat there. As I say, there's a season series between these two clubs. Story of two completely different games. Way back in September 29th at Penn State, a 12-1 dismantling by the Penn State Ice Lions over Rider. But then just a couple of weeks ago at the Luke's Ice Center in Lawrenceville, this time it was a 4-3 win for Penn State. Again, a win, but not nearly as convincing, and completely different state of affairs. Again, early in the season, maybe Rider just wasn't ready to play. You know, they needed to grow a little bit more as a team, and they certainly did, as they came away with a very close loss the next time out. And then on their way here, again, a big win yesterday against their biggest rival, Rowan, their in-state rival. So we'll see how this one shakes up. A couple of storylines to look at here. We mentioned during last night's broadcast that Penn State missing Brandon Russo, probably arguably their best defenseman.
Oh, for sure.
And another storyline here is the goaltending of Nate Kolodenko for the Rider Bronx. I would say he's one of the top 2 or 3 goaltenders in the MOC, if not the entire Southeast. He's a fantastic netminder. As it looks like we're going to listen along to PA announcer Dave Walls for the announcement of the starting lineup. We know you can't hear him, so we'll kind of dictate our way through. Start with the starting lineup of the Rider University Bronx. Their campus is in Lawrenceville, New Jersey, just outside of Trenton. And they play in a fantastic facility on the Lawrenceville Prep School called the Luke's Ice Center. First defenseman is a senior from Holland, Pennsylvania, number 12, Mike Junod. Second defenseman is a freshman from Belmead, New Jersey, number 17, Connor Fox. On the left wing is a junior from Edison, New Jersey, number 8, Mike Rossi. On the right side, a sophomore from Hopewell, New Jersey, number 22, Chris Daly. And starting at center, a sophomore from Sewell, New Jersey, number 19, Mike Kennedy. And in goal, a sophomore from Wayne, New Jersey, number 30, Nate Kolodenko.
Can't wait to see what he does up against Penn State. Oh, man. We'll get to our starting goaltenders on the other side.
There's your starting lineup for Penn State. On defense, a sophomore from Shelton, Connecticut, number 3, Brandon Russo. The other defenseman, a senior from Newton Square, Pennsylvania, number 24, Mac Winchester.
Oh, Russo is here.
Didn't expect that. As on the left wing, it's a senior from State College, Pennsylvania, number 73, Mike Riccolo. The other winger, a sophomore from Fort Covington, New York, number 7, Chris Lewis. And the center, a senior from Center Valley, Pennsylvania, number 46, Joe Zinarelli. And in goal, senior from Prospect Park, Pennsylvania, number 37, Kevin Lotherch. We'll take a real quick break for the national anthem.
Let's play some hockey. We'd like to thank our servicemen and women around the world protecting us and our freedoms here at home. We thank you. Let's get our starting goaltenders out of the way, shall we? For the visitors, it is for Rider University Bronx, Nate Kolodenko. He holds a 13-9 record coming into this weekend with a .310 goals against average and a 91% save percentage. And on the other side, Kevin Lothert, 7-2 coming into this weekend, 277 goals against and a 91% save percentage. So the save percentages are even, and all I got to say is if Penn State takes the shot and they keep taking the shot and keep taking the shot, could spell trouble for Rider. I'm just going to say that right now.
We'll see which Penn State club shows up, which Rider club shows up. Will it be 12-1? Will it be close? Or will it be somewhere in between? Let's find out as we are now underway from the Ice World in Abingdon, Maryland. My name is Tom Willems, borrowing Dave Stern's spot as the play-by-play man for this game. As Rider controls in their own zone, just 10 seconds in, lifted up to center ice. And here comes Mike Rossi trying to move in. He'll be able to tap it into the corner. He'll chase down himself, throws it out in front, steered away by Lothert, and helped behind by Zittarelli. Wraparound try comes out in front as Kennedy had a pretty decent opportunity there. As so far, Rider buzzing as they dump right back into the zone. Lothert will leave it behind for Brandon Russo. He said that he was unavailable. We lied to you as he is on the ice. And he tries to clear out once again. Goes off a leg and digs it out to center ice again. Here's Brian Schauer. Will dump right back in. Just wide of the goal. Gloved down by the netminder Lothert. And controlled by Mac Winchester.
I like that pressure on their first shift from Rider. They're making their presence known out there on the ice.
Frankie Verlisko will loft it into the zone as well as another player who did not play last night. So Penn State bringing out some of the players who may be nursing some injuries. And it's dumped into the near side corner for Brian Schauer. Dump far side now. This is Pat Grilly. Correction, that is Andrew Engel. Now it's Pat Grilly who tries to go through the legs, goes out to the line. Shot comes in, blocks high in the air off of Kolodenko on the wrist from the point from Starn. Digging at it in the corner. One-on-one scrum comes on out now to Tyler Dietrich. Lofts it near side for Grilly. He'll move out 3-on-2. Cuts to the near side, trying to get through Starn, but Starn does a good job steering him away as it comes to the corner. Now back behind. Grilly almost knocked it through. As here comes Penn State the other way now. It's a 2-on-3 the other way as Vincent moves in. Near side, Vincent tries the shot. Easy stick save by Kolodenko. Battle at the side of the cage. Puck isn't even close to either one of them. Now they finally catch up with it. There's now Chris Fitton able to lift it up ahead now for Pete Malamud. Far side for Dietrich, who dings the line and dumps in deep. Just about 2 minutes into this one. Thanks so much for joining us here from Ice World in Abingdon, Maryland, live on CrossIceFeed.com. As controlled on the far side. Actually, almost came to the far side. It went off the back of the cage. Could have been a silly bounce to come out in front, but instead it's lifted out to center ice. Here is Peter Daly going back and forth with Russo. Russo, long pass across, looking to connect with Neil Lasik. Goes back behind the cage for the icing call. 17:54 left to go in the first period.
One of the players I think that Rider needs to pay attention to is, he's not really known well on the stat sheet, but that's defenseman Tyler Starn. He's 6'1", the senior out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The defenseman, he has pretty much the size that can knock you around, and he's got a shot that has made it through quite a few times last night against Temple. And I like the way that kid plays. I really do.
Face off will be to the left of the goaltender, Lothert. Comes back behind the cage, cleared around by Russo. And out to center ice and down. No icing will be called as Mike Junod, one of the 3 Junod brothers that are on this roster for Rider. He catches up with it again, trying to pass up now for Brandon Lopez. Off the stick of Bobby Callow. And dumped right back into the zone by Max O'Malley. Seeing a few names that we haven't heard yesterday, including Bobby Callow for Rider. He did not play yesterday, I believe, against the Rowan Profs. Lifted out to the line. Starn could not keep. Trying to follow it up is Mike Junod. One-handed up ahead. Junod catches up with it. Now pass over for Lopez, who dumps in deep. Lopez chasing it down, but Lothert gets there first, back behind the cage. Around now for O'Malley. Lets to the side, trying to connect with Bonazelli. Comes out to center ice, right back in. Tyler Starn once again back behind the cage. Pass up ahead, almost intercepted cleanly by Daly. Does force him to the corner. Starn able to push it across after getting creamed into the boards by Chris Daly. Comes out to center ice, and Schauer gets it to the far side for Engel. Engel under some pressure from Bill Vaith. Around the near side for Schauer. Lifted out to the line, trying to backhand it ahead with Bonazelli. But it's lifted out to center ice by Rowan. That's going to go all the way down. Didn't think it would have the legs at first, but it does on this relatively early period ice. So icing called against the Rider Bronx. 16:39 left to go in the first, and there's no score.
That's a good break there for Penn State. They just can't seem to get anything set up inside the Rider zone. Rider is definitely executing up there at the blue line, and they're really keeping anything from coming in there. Ryder is doing a fine job executing.
Face-off is to the right of the goaltender, Nate Kolodenko. One back to the point for Winchester. Rides it around the kick plate to the far side. Goes all the way around unimpeded as Kennedy comes up with it for Ryder. Pass up ahead now for Daly. Daly banking into the zone. Way out of his crease is Lothard. Luckily, he found a way to clear it away from any maroon shirts. As it comes out to center ice, 3-on-1. Here comes Zittarelli up now for Bracolo. Bracolo with the shot. Saved by Kolodenko, and he holds on. He was looking to go 5-hole there, Dave, but good job by Kolodenko closing the wickets just in time.
He shot it right into the sweet spot there. If you shoot it at that position there, yeah, goaltenders are going to get that most of the time, but he's probably looking for a low pad shot and getting a rebound off there for a breaking number 3 there, Mr. I'm drawing a blank for some odd reason.
Russo.
It's Russo. Brandon Russo. How can I draw a blank on him? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, one of the better defensemen, not only on this team, but in the mock, as the shot comes in way high from Russo as he was going for the field goal.
Yeah. He's got a couple more years with this team here. He's only a sophomore, so they're looking to really work him through here on the system out of Shelton, Connecticut. So this one will come outside because it did not deflect.
Yeah, former USHLer of the Indiana Ice. It's lifted back behind the Ryder cage. Coming up with it now is Connor Fox. Fox will come out. Lifted out to center ice. A little too strong for Dietrich. Chasing it down is Winchester and Dietrich. Dietrich gets his body in there to knock it into the corner. Tries to backhand it behind the cage, but Winchester cuts him off. Coming on back now is Frankie Relusko. He'll leave it in the corner. Winchester's there. Has to avoid the forecheck of Malamud. Malamud does a good job getting in the way as well. And now it's Ryan Urban back behind the net. Looking to slow things down. Leave it for Brandon Russo. Russo comes out from behind the cage and makes his way out to center ice. Nice pass across now for Relusko. He'll gain the line, backhanded into the zone. Russo going very deep for a defenseman. Goes back behind the net and gets shouldered off by Connor Fox. Relusko tries to tap it back to the point. Really knocked it away, and it's cleared off high off the glass of Fox. All the way down, and icing is waved off. No, it's on. I didn't see either arm up in the air.
They're just waiting for him to hit the hash marks with that the whole icing rule. And,
the NCAA hybrid rule.
Yep.
You know what? That's always a conversation when I talk to another broadcaster. What do you think of that change of the rules? It's the second year now.
It's got its pluses and minuses, but you know what? I'd much prefer a touch-up icing because, it really does. It forces the team to make an effort to get to it. It may even gas the team that's going back for the icing, too, which is it'll balance things out a little bit.
Face-off is down and controlled by Ryder. Intercepted by Bracolo. He'll loft it back behind the cage, but this is Engel once again. Engel to the far side, looking to connect with Kennedy. Kennedy gets shouldered off by Zittarelli. It's cleared to center ice, but it's controlled by the Penn State Ice Lions, as they like to be called. This is Bracolo. Spins his way up now for Zittarelli. Stops in the blue line. Takes the shot. It was going wide, but gloved down by the netminder Kolodenko, and play is stopped. Talking about that icing rule, I may disagree with you a little bit here.
Really?
I don't like the complete no touch that they use in the lower levels. I like the hybrid. It's it's a safe play, and I wouldn't be surprised if the NHL goes to it with all the talk about head contact going on. It could be a safer play. Again, how often does the injury happen on that touch icing?
And you got to be really tentative when you go in there on the head in case the icing is beat out.
Here comes a Ryder the other way. It's almost a big opportunity for Penn State, but now it's going to be a 2-on-2. Lofted into the zone by Steve Junod. Back behind the goal. Little trouble with it there for Lothert. Get around and all the way out to center ice and down. No icing will be called.
Nice clear by Starn there. He definitely read that play well and found that opening.
3 Junods on the Ryder roster. Mike Junod's a senior. Steve's a freshman. And Frank is a senior. All out of Holland, Pennsylvania, and that great program of Council Rock South High School, the Pennsylvania State champions. Cleared all the way down by Penn State. Little trouble with it this time, Kolodenko. I don't know about trouble, but he was just decision-wise. He said, you know what, I'm giving up on this and I'm diving on top. He didn't want to make a mistake.
Yeah, and one of these players that, we were talking about, Russo, just watching him play, he kind of reminds me of a player like UMBC's Nick Yost. Really likes to push into the play like a Brian Campbell, puck-moving defenseman. And he'll really get deep in there, but he's fast enough that he can recover and kind of give a break to the wingers out there that pretty much cover for him just for a short time.
Far side, Dietrich with a little bit of a slash. It's cleared to the point. Shot comes in by Winchester, deflected away. As it comes to the near side and out to center ice, controlled now by Neil Lasik, who also used to have a brother on this team, TJ, if you may remember him from a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Dumped in deep. Well, not so deep as it's knocked down by Winchester. Now intercepted by Grilly. He'll try to break through the defense. One hands it up ahead, but knocked off the stick onto the onto the twig of Frederick Ling, but taken right back by Grilly. Trying to come up with his Dietrich. He overskates. Now this is Ling. A lot of slogging play here at the center ice area. It's dumped up ahead by Peter Daly. Taken over by Shower off the glass. Sent out to center ice. Could be Grilly the other way if he can gather it, but it hops over his stick. But given away once again. Malamud knocked away from him. Good defensive play by Russo. This is Frederick Ling backhanded into the zone. Back behind the cage is Frederick Ling. Correction, that is Mike Junod as I look at the long side of the ledger. Here is Junod up now for Grilly. He'll tip it up the center ice and come off for the change.
Now, Grilly, he's not really a flashy player from what I've heard and from what I've seen so far, but he still manages to get the points. I'm waiting to see him have a breakout game in this one.
Oh, from the center line, Mike Junod slapped it on goal, and it looked like Lothar had a little trouble with it, but kept it out of the cage. As it comes out to center ice, Meehan will leave it aside. Moving into the zone now. Shot comes in, on goal. Gathering it up is Kolodenko as he absorbs a face full of snow.
That's a dangerous way to handle that puck as he kind of batted it in on the inside of his stick, opposite direction of his stick hand, gloving it in, leaving it right there in an open 5-hole. If any Penn State player was in that vicinity, they had a real good opportunity there to poke it through the wickets, but, well, he still made the save and opts for the face-off there.
Something that Kolodenko is very good at. We mentioned in the first semifinal, he's very good with stick play. With that decision, maybe not so much, and he got away with it.
Yeah.
A little bit of a late situation here. Not sure what it was. The shot comes in, deflected, and cleared to the line, out the center ice. Here comes Daly. Daly far side, gains the line and dumps in deep. Avoids the check as Lothar clears around near side for Austin Meehan out of Yardley, Pennsylvania. Lifted all the way down by Meehan, and that should go for icing and does. 12:21 left to go in the first period. No score.
I'm just waiting for it here, but, both these goaltenders with the same save percentage and close together on the goals against average, two really good goaltenders going toe-to-toe here. We saw a 2-0 game prior to this, UMBC and Virginia Tech, and all the games yesterday were all within 1 and 2 goals with the exception with last night with the empty netter, but, the fact remains that this one's probably going to be as close as the rest.
Not a bad thing for us broadcasters and you fans out at home as it's thrown out in front as Junod was looking for Kennedy, but it was deflected away.
Nobody likes a blowout, Tom.
Except for the people winning, the team winning the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Cleared down. Austin Meehan chases down, but he's surrounded by Bronx in the corner. Tries to spin around the check, gets back behind the cage, tries to cut his way out in front, but lost control of the puck as Daly clears it far side, and the net comes off its mooring. So 12:03 left to go in the first period.
The stop and go kind of progress that we're having in this first period, I don't know who it favors more. Does it favor Penn State or does it favor Rider? Rider likes to take the rush and they like to trap Penn State inside of their zone, but I think Penn State is actually working well with this because, you got Russo, you got Zittarelli, two guys that can work well together on the ice, forward and defense. So I'm looking for Penn State to try to capitalize on these opportunities.
Bracolo pinches his way into the corner, trying to spin around the check of Daly. Coming out with it, Russo. He banks up ahead now for Daly. He'll come out to center ice. Coming in 1-on-2. Goes to the far side down looking for Kennedy, who one hands into the zone. Chasing it back, though, is going to be, that is Mac Winchester. Winchester loses into the corner. Good reach out there by Kennedy, but comes up now for Bracolo. Bracolo looked up ahead looking for Lewis. Too strong for him. It's cleared all the way down by Ryder. Back behind the Penn State cage. Whoa, getting faked out of his shoes was Frank Junod. Good move there. It's lifted up ahead by Zittarelli, and he'll come off for the change. Rarely do you see a jelly leg while someone's coming out of the zone. Wow. It's intercepted, moving in as Frankie Verlusco. 2-on-2. Throws it across. He's looking for Vincent. Vincent backhands it up the side of the cage. Diving on top of it was Kolodenko. Play stopped with 11:11 left to go here in the first period.
Yeah, Kolodenko's not going to take any chances there, especially with Verlusco, Frankie Verlusco, buzzing around in the front of the net there. He's a native here of Frederick, Maryland, just down the road, and I look for him to have a breakout game in here if anybody does from Penn State because, being up front there, just I'd like to see something come out of him. I haven't seen him in a while.
Wrist shot comes in, backhand try, kick save by Kolodenko. It went onto the stick of Taylor Vincent, who backhanded it and just missed a great opportunity. Far side, Junod lifts it out to center ice, but it's intercepted once again by Vincent. Dumps ahead off the stick of Fox. Taken right back down by Verlusco. Verlusco moves in, absorbs a couple slash, goes wide, gets spun around, delayed penalty coming. Banked back to the point as the extra attacker comes on. Lifted across looking for O'Connor. It's deflected, no possession. It comes out to center ice. Now it's possessed by Steve Junod. And play is stopped with 10:39 left to go in the first. And we get our first power play of the game.
Penn State going on the power play here. This is going to be huge to kind of open things up here in this game. I mean, it's been stop and go, but now Penn State seems to have Ryder trapped inside their own zone, but I'm just waiting to see, we have out there for Penn State Lewis, who is an explosive forward for these guys. He leads the team with 8 power play goals. I believe he had one yesterday, making it 9.
He has 20 goals on the season. Yeah, fantastic player.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see him pop one here as he plants himself out in front of the net.
Drive from the point goes way high, but a hard bounce off the back glass. Comes into the corner and it's controlled by Zittarelli. Zittarelli looking to set things up, has Winchester, gets it to him at the near side point. Zittarelli, cross-ice pass across for Bracola, but defended away by Fox, and he'll clear.
Silently calling for it was Bracola. Nobody saw him standing there until the last second when that pass came through. Great work by Ryder to identify that just at the last second there.
Both teams successful on the power play yesterday. Is moving in is Lewis. Lewis coming in 4-on-2. Lewis with a shot, just missed the near side post, and because of the angle, that'll come out to center ice. Yesterday, Penn State 2 for 6 on the power play against Temple as it comes near side for Chris Lewis again. Lewis stops on the half boards. Lewis waits. Under pressure from Grilly, trying to spin around that check. Grilly did a nice job recognizing that he had some trouble with it, and he's able to clear and come off for the change.
There's only 2 players with shorthanded goals on this team. It's Mike Rossi and Connor Fox, so not too good on the shorthand if you're going to try to, rush it down on your opponent here for the Rider Bronx.
Field goal from center ice there by Chris Bergert, and play is stopped with 9:29 left to go in the first. 50 seconds remaining in the Penn State power play.
Golf season's coming.
Speaking of the power play, though, something Penn State will have to take a look at. Ryder yesterday, 4 for 6 on the man advantage against Rowan. So,
Penn State's a disciplined team, so I don't expect Ryder to get that many man advantages.
But they can take advantage of it when they do, as Shower has it cleared around. Awful leg comes out in front, but Dietrich clears to the line and out. As unable to knife it down was O'Malley. O'Malley under pressure from Rossi. Rossi forces him to the corner. Good check there, but helping out was Tyler Starn. 35 seconds left to go in the power play. Pass up ahead intended for Urban. He wasn't ready for it, so he cut. And that'll go for icing. It's getting back first is Brian Shower.
Good pressure from Ryder, and I like Rossi with that speed. You got to watch out for him, especially, that's why they use him on the penalty kill. Doing a great job doing some forechecking down there and pressuring Penn State to make a move there, and it results in an icing here with just under 30 seconds left on the man advantage for Penn State.
Face off will be to the right of Kevin Lothert, the former Penn State Brandywine product. Comes in on goal, and Lothert covers up. Lothert knows his big games. 2 out of the last 3 years, he was the goaltender for the DVCHC champion Penn State Brandywine Lions.
I'll give him plenty of credit for defeating UMBC to lock in that auto bid just on Super Bowl Sunday. Did a fine job in net against UMBC.
Intercept, shot comes in, saved by the aforementioned Lothert, and it's controlled by O'Malley. 12 seconds left to go in the Lion power play. O'Malley comes near side, head up, gains the line, dumps in deep. 5 seconds remaining in the power play. Actually, he did not get it deep as it went off the linesman, who went down like he was shot. As Starn comes up with it and comes on back now for Urban. And the power play has expired, so O'Malley will dump in and come off for the change. This is Chris Bergert. Bergert out of Old Bridge, New Jersey. Makes his way to the center line. He'll dump in off of Winchester. Winchester will recover. Spin around to the near side for Russo. Russo with his head up comes to the near side down for Ling. Ling cuts across, moving in 2-on-3, trying to get something going. Takes a shot, blocked down, loose in front again. Shot comes in. Score! No, what happened? It went. Penn State celebrates.
I think that might have went in. It just kind of came out so quick, and then Kaladenko fell down on it. That might have been a goal.
A situation once again where the referees maybe were not in the best of positions, and the referee emphatically points to the face-off dot saying no goal. Wow. Again, we don't know. I'm not going to say it when I reacted to Penn State celebrating.
We're getting an explanation over there at the Penn State bench. But he's okay with it. He's fine. He's all right.
So the controversy is non-existent. It's off to the left of Kolodenko with 8:09 left to go in the second. Controlled by Shower. Shower banks it up ahead. Back to the point. Shot comes in. Deflected wide as it was Winchester looking for Lasig out in front. As my tongue gets tied, here comes Ling into the zone. He tries a shot blocked down by Shower. 2-on-2 scrum coming out with it is Lasig. Lasig with a shot. That goes wide as well. So Penn State unable to hit the cage right now. As it comes out to center ice, possible 2-on-1 here for Ryder. Moving in is Dietrich. Dietrich cuts wide across. Shot comes in. Scores! Pete Malamud able to find its way through the legs of Lothert. And with 7:39 left to go in the first, it's 1-0 Ryder.
Great work there on the rush and perfect 2-on-1 setup. Lothar trying to get the side-to-side movement there to get the guy without the puck. Usually goaltenders are playing the guy with the puck. The defender did not read that properly, and next thing you know, between the wickets there, 5-hole goal on Lothar. Just like that, Ryder up 1-0.
The sophomore from Richboro, Pennsylvania, scores his third of the season, his first of the playoffs, and Ryder takes the big 1-0 lead. Dietrich gets the assist on a brilliant pass across. I honestly thought that Malamud was covered, but as you said, the defensive coverage just wasn't there. So Penn State has some work to do, down by 1 now. So it's a pass up ahead to the near side, a little too strong for Bobby Callow. Caught up to by Tyler Starn, far side, and then lifted near side right back to Starn. Here's Austin Meehan. He gets stood up at his own blue line. Able to lift it up ahead, though. Bonazelli looking for Vaith. He gets cut off. Russo knocks it over now for Fox, who skies into the Penn State zone on goal. So Lothar will be forced to cover. Play stop with 7:07 left to go in the first period. 1-0 Ryder.
Penn State's going to have to react real soon here. That coming right after a near goal, or it could have been actually a goal. We're not sure. We're going to have to review the game tape later on that, but Penn State could have had a 1-0 lead with that shot, but then next thing you know, Ryder answers immediately thereafter. And now Penn State really has to respond now to keep this a tight game, although it is only 1-0.
Back at the point, shot comes in, awful leg of Winchester. One-handed into the corner by Dietrich. He gets stood up, the good check on him, but Dietrich stays on his feet now for Malamud. Tries to throw out in front, deflected out to center ice. Swing and a miss there by Berger as it comes up ahead now for looking for Dietrich as he'll come out 2-on-2. Dietrich across past Malamud now for Grilly. Grilly off the board with a shot that goes high and wide. Rides the dasher at the center ice.
I can see why he's got the most points on his team. He's got a really good shot. Even though it wasn't on, I could tell that he has control of that shot.
Far side, Bricolo. Almost an intercept as he tried to throw out in front. Dietrich will bank it up ahead off the referee so it stays alive. Still playing with it now into the corner. Goes over for Lewis. Lewis back behind the cage. Throws out in front looking for Bricolo. It's deflected high and out of play, and they're saying untouched. So the faceoff comes outside the zone. 6:21 left to go in the first. And Dave, this looks awfully familiar. The game before this, Virginia Tech, UMBC.
Yep.
UMBC carrying much of the play. Virginia Tech gets the goal. All it takes is one bounce. Now, will Penn State respond like UMBC did? Well, not respond, but I'm saying, will it happen that way, or will Penn State get on the board?
Well, I think Penn State definitely has a lot more talent, across the board. So look to see some production from a bunch of players in this one, just to make a collective effort to ensure that this one doesn't get away from them.
Good pressure by Penn State as Bricolo took a nice wrist shot there, but a kick save by Kolodenko. Starn dumps it around the boards past Bricolo. Now for Lewis on the near side. Setting up like a power play as a shot comes in, blocked away, and here comes DeMarco. DeMarco coming out 2-on-2. Gets stood up nicely by O'Malley, but the second try, DeMarco able to clear all the way down. Here's Starn around looking for Bricolo. Bricolo under the pressure from Gifford. Sliding block by the defenseman Engel. But now a pass up ahead for Lewis on the far side. Coming out 1-on-3. Lewis, toe drag, shot, stick save by Kolodenko. Swept away by Shower into the corner. Thrown back to the point. Nice move here by Urban. Comes out in front with a shot save. Rebound. It's still no, it's not underneath Kolodenko. And DeMarco skates it away. Good job by O'Malley to reach on back, and he'll dump in deep. It looks like the Ryder bench was looking for a penalty. That's not forthcoming. Engel, he'll leave it aside, looking for Frank Junod. Junod comes over with it, pass up ahead all the way to the far side, out to center ice, as Ryder was just desperate to get it out of the zone. Tipped up ahead now by Frankie Relusco. Back behind the goal, coming up with it is Junod. That's Mike Junod this time. Out to the line, through the legs of Russo, and into the Ice Lion zone. 5 minutes left to go first period. It remains a 1-0 Ryder lead. Relusco trying to avoid the check of Steve Junod. Comes to our side now for Mike Junod. Near side for Fox. Fox gains the line. He banks it into the zone off the glove of Russo. Russo near side corner under pressure from Steve Junod. Taken over now by Lopez. Trying to come out in front. Goes up the side of the net. Spinning away. This is Brandon Russo out of Shelton, Connecticut. Pass all the way across for Frankie Relusco. Relusco lost it on goal. Kolodenko ready, and he'll just steer it to the line. Kept alive by Taylor Vincent. Comes out to center ice, though. Daly cut off. Shot comes in. Stick save by Lothar on the surprising shot by Brandon Lopez. This is Connor Fox, near side. Gains the line, dumps in deep, and he'll race off for the change. Backs O'Malley back behind the goal. Now for Vincent. Skies it far side looking for Relusco, who catches up with it, trying to avoid the check of Chris Fitton. Fitton with a good job knocking him off, and Fitton comes up with the puck. He overskates it a bit, but Rossi has it. Rossi threads the needle across for Callow, but it's off of him, and on goal, steered away, and Lother had a little trouble with it. He'll cover up. And play stopped with 3:47 left to go in the first.
He's a little too far out there. I think that one would have made it for icing if he would have just backed off a little bit. But going back to the previous play there, Lothar kicking out a rebound there. If Ryder could just attack in on the back door, they could definitely beat Lothar along the far side post because he does play to the puck. He squares to the shooter. And most of the time he doesn't let out a rebound. But if he's leaving out rebounds like that, Ryder better crash that net and look for that loose change off the rebounds.
Trying to clear up, swinging and missing was Daly. He's had his stick lifted, goes back to the point. Drive comes in, saved by Lothar, and he holds on, stopping play. Brian Schauer got all of that one, but right into the pad of netminder Kevin Lothar.
This is the Cross Ice Feed here on crossicefeed.com and teamed up with IYM Sports Radio. It's Tom Wilms on the call, and of course, tomorrow we will have the championship game of the winner of this game versus Virginia Tech, so tune in tomorrow, 9:45, bright and early. So get the coffee ready.
Intercepted by Lazik. Pass ahead now for Ling. He tried to break into the zone, but it's knocked off. And it comes over now. Engel with a good job defensively there as Dietrich tries to jump around Daly. Comes over for Ling. Ling coming in 3-on-2. Very tight. Tackled down. No penalty forthcoming.
Wow.
Taken over by Ling. Sharp angle. Tried to come out in front, but he gets shouldered off by Schauer. Lifted out to center ice. Knocked down by Lewis. Tries to get it up ahead for Ling. Leaves it aside for Winchester, goes to his forehand, banks it off the linesman. Right back out to center ice it comes, and dump right back in. Under 3 minutes to go in the first period, 1-0 Ryder on Pete Malamud's third goal of the season. Controlling now is Brandon Russo. Trying to split three defensemen, gets ran into by Rossi. They both go down, but the puck comes into the zone. Knifed down nicely there by Dylan Jones, and he'll loft it into the far side corner. Coming back is Engel. Engel under pressure, pushed off, but Russo there to help out. Up now for Kennedy. Kennedy spins it across down to the near side. It could be a 2-on-2. Trying to streak away is Callow. A little too strong for himself. And he comes in offsides as Russo anticipated a little too quickly. And play is stopped with 2:25 left to go in the first period.
Before Russo got run over, he beat out like three guys to make that pass. He still got the pass across, but boy, did he get wrecked up at center ice. But he appears to be fine there and just a little shaken up. But yeah, definitely a great puck movement through it until he got taken out at the last second there.
One thing you can't do at this level, you're not going to dangle through three guys.
No, but
it's just not going to happen at this level. He has the ability, but it's very rare. This isn't high school hockey where you can dangle through everybody and score goals.
That's because everyone makes the team then, right?
Offsides once again here against the Ryder Bronx. Not the Broncos, the Bronx.
Uh-huh.
And not the
Borough.
Not the Borough in New York. But I'll give you some news about that Borough in New York in just a second. I'm going to tie it into hockey. You're going to be impressed, I think.
Cool.
As it comes to the near side, Connor Fox tries to slap it in, but he fans on it. Kept in by Gifford. Backhands up ahead, intercepted by Starn. Starn goes far side, lifts it out to center ice where it's knocked down by Junod. It actually goes over his stick. Junod forced back by Bonazelli. Comes near side for Lopez. Lopez trying to get around O'Malley. Gets out to center ice. Gifford, nice move. Comes up ahead, possible 2-on-2. He'll lost it on goal. Saved by Lothar, and he'll hold on and cover. Stopping play with 1:41 left to go in the first period.
What you got on the Bronx?
On the Borough of the Bronx. First time ever a team from the Borough of the Bronx is going to nationals. ACHA Division III, SUNY Maritime defeated Alvernia by a score of 5-4.
All right.
So that's how I tied that in.
I was going to say the Islanders are going to Brooklyn.
Not for the Bronx. Not a lot of hockey in the Bronx. I'll be honest with you, I don't even know where they play their home games. I think they play them on Long Island somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I know they are building a nice, like a 4-sheet facility in the Bronx, so it's going to be fantastic, and they're going to be very happy with that for any high schools that are looking to start ice hockey in that area. But I digress as Brocolo controls the puck. Trying to force him off was Dietrich. Lifted over far side for Russo. He was going to be offsides, but
that puck never went completely across the line.
I think the linesman just kind of anticipated.
He's looking ahead.
1:17 left to go in the first period. A 1-0 lead for the Ryder Bronx. Face-off is just outside the zone. Thanks so much for joining us here on Cross Ice Feed. And as Dave said, set your alarms. You know we will. 9:45 tomorrow for the championship game as it's thrown out in front. Goes off a leg. Now right back to Chris Lewis. He throws it out in front again, looking for Brocolo. Goes through the paint, but all the way through.
1 minute to play in the first period.
Thank you, Dave Walls, as he announced 1 minute left to go. As it comes now for Lewis. Going back to the point. Russo throws it out in front for the kick save by Kolodenko. Here comes Mike Junod out to center line. It's possible 3-on-2 if they hurry. Going far side for Dietrich. Dietrich trying to get around Winchester. Makes his way into the corner. Drop pass for Junod. Junod with a shot. Stick save by Lothert. He directs it out of play. And play is stopped with 36.92 seconds left to go in the first period. Very rare to get that 100th of a second on the clock.
Yeah.
So as we noted
nice?
earlier in the tournament, that they probably use this rink for short track speed skating, little Apollo Ono action.
Oh, yeah. Good pressure here by Ryder. They're going to be happy going into the dressing room.
Right off the face-off, Lothert being forced to make a save as Vincent lifts it up to center right, stepped right back in by Bergert on offsides. But
now you're hearing a whistle from the other side.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The other rink, they must have another game going on over there. So I've been duped. I've been juked by the other side. There's 15 seconds remain. This is Starr. Far side now for O'Malley. Penn State looking to play out the string. 10 seconds left. Near side, but now maybe a flash rush pass up ahead now for Velusco coming in one-on-one. Velusco with a shot, bounces wide. Rebound off the side of the cage. Thrown out in front again and steered away. The buzzer goes. And don't listen to me. Don't listen to me saying they're going to play out the string. They got some real nice opportunities as the buzzer does go.
Penn State putting on a lot of pressure there at the end, but Ryder walking out with a 1-0 lead here after one. But, you know, I got to say this right now. Kolodenko, 5'6". He's shorter than most goaltenders I know. I mean, at 5'6", I know goaltenders that are like maybe 15 years old at that size.
And I'll be honest with you, 5'6" may be generous.
Oh, man.
I don't think it might be 5'6" on skates. He is short of stature, but he's incredibly quick. He's very good on his angles. He does have the tendency to go down maybe a little too early. And at that size, that means leaves a whole lot of open net up top.
But he's good on the glove, and he's good on the blocker. But the thing is, you know, his side-to-side movement is solid, and he likes to get down to the butterfly and push off to get over to the opposite side when the shot comes through. And Penn State shots have been low, except for a few, just a very few. But he's been covering the bottom half of the net very well. Penn State, they need to take more high shots because that'll get them rattled. Using that the height on Kolodenko to their advantage. Shoot a little bit high, and if pucks come down to drop right in front of the net, Penn State can look to bury it because he'll still be frazzled that the shot came up so high that he'll maybe forget the drop or just drop randomly there, and he won't have the right position on the puck. So play off those rebounds, taking the shots high. And Kolodenko, that name, it sounds very, very Eastern European or Russian. I'm trying to think of a Russian goaltender that reminds me of.
The name itself,
The
Kolodenko?
name itself.
I honestly cannot help you with that
USSR, 1980s, no names come to mind.
Yeah, in 1980 at Michigan and Tretiak, those are the two goaltenders.
Tretiak, yeah.
Tretiak, arguably the best goaltender ever.
True.
And I don't think there is an argument.
No,
to be honest with you, except for 1980, the silly call of pulling him out of the game after the first period. You think Eruzione scores that winning goal against Tretiak?
You know he's selling his jersey.
You know, that is a big-time shame.
Yeah.
It is, but I guess he's money. I don't know if it's money problems. I mean, he's a motivational speaker, and he does pretty well with that. Yeah. But maybe he just wants to spread the wealth. I don't know.
He thinks that somebody else can appreciate it more, and you know, he said he's got the gold medal, and that's all that he needs. You know, it's just the jersey, just something he wore that day. But winning the gold was all he wanted, and he's going to hold on to that. And
that's one guy, Mike Eruzione. We really digressed from this talking about this game, but that's what we do. Mike Eruzione, man, that's 1980. He was a super stud, and not one NHL team even touched him.
No, after that, that was it.
That was it. He wasn't even thought about being drafted. I mean, yet Jim Craig ended up playing for the Atlanta Flames, and I think he played a little bit for the Boston Bruins before finally retiring.
I believe you're correct.
And a bunch of those players ended up going to the NHL. Mark Johnson, Neil Broughton.
They're straight out of college.
Oh yeah, Jack O'Callahan. All of them ended up playing for the New Jersey Devils. I think that team ended up being a Devils farm team.
Oh yeah.
It was Mark Pavlich going to the Rangers. Dave Silk to the Rangers. I'm trying to think of a couple others.
Oh, there's a name.
Showing my age or my life. Well, Broughton obviously to the Minnesota, Dallas, and then eventually to the New Jersey.
Ramsey too.
Mike Ramsey. He was a Island.
Sabre.
Yes, he was a Sabre.
Yep.
Kenny Morrow. What a year for Kenny Morrow. You win the miracle of miracles of winning the gold medal. Goes to Long Island and wins himself 4 straight Stanley Cups. That's a pretty good start to a career, don't you say?
Oh man. Talk about having it all. Yeah. Well, Ryder, in that first period, I will give them tons of credit there. I was talking with Coach Morrow last night as we were passing through on our way out after that Temple game. He was not pleased with the way his team played last night. And I don't think he can be pleased at all with the way his team's playing now. I mean, is Kolodenko rising to the occasion? Yes, he is. But is it worthy of his team, Penn State being completely off the board? No. I don't think Penn State has taken as many opportunities as they possibly can. They're not having enough opportunities, and they're not giving themselves enough opportunities to set up inside the Ryder zone. And when they do, it's usually that first line with Bricolo and I'm blanking here on Zittarelli. They're in Lewis, and they're hooking up well. The problem is, though, their shots are going above the cage. I think they are trying to shoot up high on Kolodenko because of his height. They're trying to use that to their advantage, but just the communication needs to be a little bit better on the ice for Penn State, because there's been a lot of times where they've lost those neutral zone battles that are pivotal to get inside the Ryder zone to set things up. But Ryder seems to be winning those neutral zone battles, and they are setting up shop in the Penn State zone, and they are challenging Lothar more than Kolodenko's being challenged in this one so far.
Yeah, a lot of pucks have been missing the net, going high and going wide. I don't know how many times I said shot on goal goes wide.
Yeah.
This is something that Penn State's going to have to just take care of. Kolodenko does a very good job as far as rebound control, but not every goaltender can control every rebound. You got to get shots on, crash the net, look for an ugly goal. That's something that UMBC, unfortunately for them, they failed at in the last game. They were taking shots from the outside, but really weren't crashing the net. Something that Penn State can hope, for their sake, can learn from. Ryder, I wouldn't say they played a perfect period, but darn near close. But I'm sure they have things to talk about as well to try to improve their game, and maybe they have a plan to make some changes and confuse Penn State. Both of these coaches are first-year coaches here in the mock. Sean Levin, first-year coach for Ryder after Ted Gary, a long-time coach for the Ryder Bronx.
Yep.
And Penn State, they've had kind of a carousel of coaches over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it was Ryan Bankin 2 years ago, from my knowledge, and I'm not sure if this is Morrow's first or second year.
You know what? You're right. It may be his second.
I believe it is his second, yeah, because Ryan Bankin left the spot and became an assistant for UMBC. Now he's coaching Millersville. But, Matt Morrow, he seems very calm. He seems very collected. And, he's not one of those fly-off-the-handle type of coaches. He's very methodical, and he's got the team. He does have the team. That's why they have the auto bid. And, what better icing on the cake than to take a mock championship? But at this point right now, after a close game last night with Temple, who aren't even in the regional picture, though they've had a trying season, I think Penn State, if they played like Penn State last night, they could have easily won that game by 3 or 4. Today, they're down 1-0 after 1. They need to get back to their systems if they want to come out victors in this one and take on Virginia Tech tomorrow morning.
This is maybe a case of Penn State possibly looking past the mock.
All the way through to the middle of March.
Exactly. The mock is nothing to look past. And yeah, Penn State, they won the Brawl for It All last year against UMBC, won the North Championship the last couple of years. And they were within a whisker of going to the national championship game last year as they succumbed to Grand Valley State in the semis.
Yeah.
But it's not that easy. You got to keep it going, and they're going to have a layoff now of a couple of weeks after this weekend's tournament.
Yep.
Got to keep the legs flowing, and you can't go to nationals and drop your first game, even though they're going to play the number 4 seed.
Why not? No.
That hasn't been decided just yet.
Yeah, we're waiting for the regional.
They're number
outcomes.
2, so they're going to play a number 3.
Well, they'll play them eventually in pool play, but
right.
I'm very interested to see that contest. I think that's going to be one that most people are going to get excited about, is Minot State and Penn State. So, but yeah, they're very mysterious there. And, after the regional shakeout, I think Penn State really, between now and nationals, Penn State really needs to think about an exhibition game, because you don't want that much time off.
Yeah.
Next week with the regionals, and then 2 weeks after that we'll have the nationals. Penn State, it would be nice if they win today and then they play tomorrow. It keeps them going, and then maybe schedule a game in between now and then. Otherwise, they're going to get iced.
You know what would be interesting is, I don't know the relationship between the current D2 team and the NCAA Division I team. Maybe play a scrimmage against those guys. Those.
Well, you don't want to risk getting your guys hurt.
No,
though.
I'm not. I'm not saying full check. Try to kill the other guy, but just play some hockey. Play competitive.
Yeah.
A team that is obviously going to be much faster, much bigger, much stronger.
Be like Mighty Ducks 3, yeah.
I don't know if that. Again, I don't know what kind of relationship they have with that club. And some schools between the NCAA team and the club team. There is no relationship.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a very tight relationship.
Well, in a scouting situation, they're usually looking at the guys that the club team's bringing in and see if they're anything to look at. I know that was the case up in Mercyhurst when I was there. They have an NCAA D1 team and an ACHA D1 team. So they are kind of like close in the talent level to some degree. I mean,
well, not necessarily talent, but just,
but the working
cordial,
relationship.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some other schools. You go to Princeton. Princeton has a very good varsity team, but their ACHA D2 team is pretty much non-existent. Or they play, but they struggle.
They've been off the radar for
a
while.
They don't get the help from the not that they're gonna. They don't acknowledge each other. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a tough situation. But, talking about Penn State as we get back to that, you're right. Maybe they should try to find an exhibition game against a team that maybe I don't know if their season would be over, or a junior team that maybe want to tune up in the middle. I don't know how that how easy that would be.
They can go up to Mercyhurst. It's up in Erie, Pennsylvania, just a couple hours away. Hop on the bus and go on up there to the Mercyhurst Ice Center. But I am reminded of one situation where an NCAA player opted to drop down the club because it was kind of a rocky relationship with him and the coaching staff. But a player by the name of Matt Warren, boy, did he light it up down there in the D1 level. And he was toe-to-toe with one guy that had left the NCAA program at Mercyhurst and went to a club program, which happened to be Penn State. The name, I believe it was Gehring. Tim Gehring was the guy's name. And he and Warren were toggling for pretty much most points in the league. So that tells you the difference in talent between NCAA talent and ACHA talent to a degree, as you have a former NCAA D1 guy dropping down to ACHA D1 and lighting it up. So, I mean, and Warren was like a third liner, fourth liner up for Mercyhurst, but still, you do want to look for some relationships like that, within some organizations that do have, schools that have two organizations, NCAA and ACHA, but, or even in the case that, like Liberty, they have multiple tiers, have the D1 team play against the D2 team if you have to, or, just
to get your legs under you.
Exactly. That time off, it may make a difference. But boy, we're already almost through this intermission.
We talked our way through the intermission. Hopefully, everyone enjoys us going off on tangents.
Oh yeah, no, it's good.
Become the ACHA talk show here.
And also, things have changed vastly in the ACHA throughout the years since I started doing this back in 2007. I mean, the ECHL is no longer existent as far as ACHA D1, which was consistent of University of Buffalo, Niagara University, Rochester, Syracuse, and I'm probably missing one. I want to say it was Robert Morris is the other team to round things out. And then they all just kind of parsed away and went into different conferences. But, I think ACHA has come a long way. I don't want to call it club hockey because it has kind of a stigma to it in its title in and of itself. People call it a glorified beer league in some cases, but you know what? It's making waves now. It's making for a better reputation, especially when it comes down to an organization like Penn State. You saw them go from ACHA D1 now having an NCAA D1 program. So I think that the ACHA has gained a lot more respect over the years. Absolutely,
considering that this Penn State NCAA Division I team has lost games to ACHA Division I teams.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of it, again, back in the day, I'll be honest with you, when I started, it was a little bit of a glorified beer league, last chance for players to play competitively. But now ACHA Division I and II players are being recruited. They're being recruited a little bit and by, I wouldn't say maybe ECHL teams. I could think of a couple of players that made it to the FHL, the ECHL, a couple to the AHL now. And they also get offers to play overseas at their minor league levels.
Yeah, Germany's got a great league over there. They've been around since 1926. They have a really storied league over there. And, the Swedish Elite League, they're looking for players too. And, with the lockout this past season, they saw a flood of NHL talent over there, which kind of drowned out the guys that are coming out of college, out of the club programs and everything, even the NCAA level where they continue their careers. If they can't make it in professional hockey in the U.S. and Canada, they'll go overseas and, they'll get paid well, and they'll live comfortably over there. But a lot of the guys that I know that I was actually an RA for and I called back in the day when I was at Mercyhurst, a lot of those guys now are working up in Toronto and, they're professional careers now instead of playing hockey. But some of them stay in the game. I do have a couple of guys that I used to call their names. They're playing in the NHL now. But as far as club talent, a couple of these guys really can make a good showing out in other leagues, whether it be international or here at home.
Yeah, there are so many leagues around the world that people may not know about. You know what? Mexico has a professional league.
Oh, yeah.
Australia has a professional league.
Australia does, yeah.
Great Britain has a fantastic league.
I
that's
don't
up
hear
and
much
growing.
about it, though.
It's still growing. It's still in its infancy, but they are drawing fairly well. Their rinks are a lot smaller. Their
Then
biggest.
there's the O2 arena.
The O2 is that's a different story. But there are rinks in Manchester, the Manchester Phoenix, the Cardiff Devils. They do pretty well. They get about 3,000 fans to a year. That's a heck of a trip, by the way.
Down to Wales, yeah.
Yeah. But there are leagues all over the world, and now with the Federal Hockey League here in the Northeast, you got the Southern Professional League in the Southeast of the country. There's
a lot
plenty
of
places.
semi-pro leagues popping up nowadays.
Yeah, I'd say semi-pro, low, single A as they like to be called.
Yeah. It's kind of like baseball, you got all sorts
all these
of
different tiers, and you never know. I'm looking forward to the day where an ACHA ends up in the NHL, even if they get a cup of coffee.
Oh, yeah,
a cup of coffee could taste pretty darn good when it's in the NHL.
Just a reminder, this is the Cross Ice Feed. Tom Wilms on the play-by-play. David Stearns on the color commentary. And we are just getting underway for the second period. 1-0 Ryder.
No carryover penalties or power plays. It's Ryder with control in maroon, clearing it all the way down. That's how you start a period. 6 seconds in with icing.
Oh, Ryder does not want that to start things off here because Penn State, I'm sure they got a tongue lashing in that locker room from Coach Morrow, and he's looking for more production from his top guys here, as he does have his top line out there with Percola, Lewis, and Zittarelli. And up top, he's got Winchester and the ever so popular Brandon Russo from Shelton, Connecticut.
Face-off is down and controlled by Ryder. Off a leg, it stays in the zone, but far side. Connor Fox catches up. Fox out of Belmead, New Jersey. Gets it up ahead now for Rossi. Intercepted there by Russo. Russo tries to make his way in and hits the stanchion and goes out of play. We saw a player earlier hit the other stanchion, which is now the Ryder bench.
On the UMBC game,
oh,
Matt
man,
Bloom.
that looked like it hurt. That's got to be the worst possible. I mean, I did not play ice hockey. I'll admit that, everybody. I was a king with a Milek, but, as far as ice hockey, not so much.
Yeah.
I can imagine getting decked into the stanchion.
Oh, yeah.
There.
And then, of course, we're all reminded of Char and Patcher already. Oh, boy. That becomes dangerous when you got a guy of that size taking out a little guy up into the stanchion, especially with an elbow. Oof.
Cleared to center ice and controlled by O'Malley to far side for Starn. Not Stearns, who's sitting next to me. Hello. Lifted right in front with Shower. Knifed out of the air nicely. Shot comes in. That goes just high there. Vincent does a good job picking it out of the air and getting a shot off. Grilly with it. Backhand into the zone. Back behind now. This is Kevin Lother. Lother steers it to the far side looking to connect with Vincent. Kept in at the point by Engel. He'll loft into the corner. Starn will try again under pressure from Malamud, the goal scorer. Here's O'Malley. Up now for Walusko. Tips it forward for Bernsteel. Correction, that is Urban. Urban cuts wide, takes the shot. Stick save, rebound loose up top. Turnaround try. And it goes through the crease. Kolomenko did not look like he was set for that one. Cleared around to the far side, pinching in Winchester. Grilly cuts him off. Goes into the corner now for Urban. Urban gets pushed off by Malamud. Still battling. Good job by Urban. Comes up top now for Walusko. One-time try. Goes wide. Comes to the near side corner. Urban all the way back to the point now for Russo. Settles. Fires. Deflection off the shoulder of Kolomenko. Cuts across near side as Penn State putting on the pressure, trying to tie this game up. Getting spun around there was Vincent. Throws it out in front, but Grilly comes up with it. 2-on-2, but I have a feeling they're going to dump in. But I was wrong moving in Dietrich, but it's offsides. He pulled himself off. And that might be a blessing in disguise. As Ryder looked like they were gassed, and they need to make a change.
I like that second line from Penn State, applying a lot of pressure there with Walusko. And, man, did they have a few opportunities there. And some people are debating that was not an offside. But I think it was. I think it was. So Ryder's going to look to react to that powerful shift from the second line from Penn State.
Winchester around to the near side for Neil Lasik out of Lansdale, Pennsylvania, former Hatfield Ice Dog. Dumped in, though, by Rossi. Loader leaves it aside down for Winchester. Tries the far side. And helped along by Ling. Kept in the zone, still digging at it just inside the blue line. Kennedy does a good job cutting off his man, and he'll dump it in back behind the cage. Here's Russo. He'll try the far side once again. Good forecheck here by Ryder as Kennedy forces him back behind the cage. Russo back behind the net. He'll have a smoke and then try to come out with it. And he'll come out the center ice, intercepted by Rossi, and up right back in. Great response by Ryder after that first flurry by Penn State. Near side, this is Russo. Russo gets spun around by Daly. Lifted up ahead by Lasik. Across to the far side. Corralled by Link. Coming in 3-on-3. Top of the circle with a shot. Stick save by Kolomenko. As usual, he directs it out of play. That play is stopped with 17-16 left to go.
He said he's a specialist in that. Yeah, for sure. Just redirecting it out of play, getting a stoppage there, not having to juggle a rebound or, having to try to find it into the glove, What better way than to get a stoppage and slow the pace down of this game by steering it out of play?
Face-off is down. One back to the point. Starn, far side, looking for Meehan, but back behind the cage. This is Vaith into the corner. Thrown out in front. Comes up top. Dell with it. Backhands ahead. It's deflected to the near side half boards. Vaith bodies off his man. Goes back behind the cage, though, for Gifford. Far side. And kept in by Starn, but only temporarily. Starn gets it right back in front of his bench. Banks it off the Verizon Wireless side. And comes to the near side. Long pass up ahead. It looked like it was just a desperate clear. It worked out as here comes DeMarco. DeMarco dumps it into the corner, back behind for Junod. He gets knocked off by O'Malley. Vaith is there as well. Intercept, comes out in front. Shot comes in off the elbow of the netminder Lothar. Loose up top, cleared to the line. Junod has it. Junod with a drive, deflected wide. Another Junod with it. This time it's Frank. Frank goes down. He's looking for a penalty. That's not coming as here comes O'Malley. Up now for Meehan. Meehan absorbs the check of Gifford. Still has control. Turns, and he'll fire to center ice. Ryder offside, so a free clear, and here comes Meehan. Pass across for Dell. Dell moves into the zone, cuts wide. Sharp angle, throws it through the crease and wide. Bracolo fresh off the bench. He'll try to dump it into the corner. Gloved down nicely by Fox. And it's cleared and knifed out of the air by Russo. Russo for Winchester. Russo gets it back. Near side with some speed. Gains his own around Gifford. Throws it out in front. Deflection off the post, it looked like. Turnaround tries, steered away and out of play once again. And Zittarelli got a good turnaround shot on, but Kolodenko just knocks it off the back wall.
I think that shot may have gone off the former New Jersey Titan. That's Connor Fox. That one went right off of him and hit Kolodenko through, and then, man, what a rush there by Russo. Russo really knows how to move that puck.
Speaking of, he goes trying to make his way into the corner around Shower. Spins around that check. Up top for Zittarelli with a shot save. Rebound, and it's cleared away. Going far side, this is Brandon Lopez. He gains the line, and he'll dump in deep. 15:28 left to go. Second period remains 1-0 Ryder. Cleared around now for Mac Winchester. Winchester out of Newton Square, Pennsylvania. Kicked up ahead, Zittarelli. Lifts up ahead looking for Bracolo. Trying to one-handed ahead was Lewis. Backhanded down for Lopez. He'll race off for the change. Is coming on back as Russo again. 7 goals on the season for Russo. Home run pass intended for Lewis. On goal, covered up by Kolodenko. As with his head in the air, Lewis hoping he'd catch up with that long pass for a breakaway.
Yeah, that was a good look there. And, man, Lewis, he was definitely waiting for that. Yeah. Just kind of cheating around behind the defensemen who were caught up along the red line there. And then they realized, oh, man, this guy's behind us. I went to catch up on him just in time, but Kolodenko already had that one swallowed up. Good luck from Penn State.
Face off into the corner, cleared around to center ice. O'Malley catches up and throws it across, absorbs a hard hit right below us from Daly. As it comes across now, this is, this is Bergett clearing around far side. Interception, thrown out in front, goes off a leg on goal. Kolodenko makes a stop. The net moves, referee doesn't see it. So Penn State will try to take advantage into the corner. There is Rossi with the intercept, as it comes off the glass. Good job banking it off by Daly. Didn't think he planned that one as he comes into the zone, dumps in deep. He'll come in on the forecheck. Here is Penn State the other way, though. Banks up ahead now for Vincent. Coming in 2-on-2, now 3-on-3. Cuts across, takes a shot. Off the arm, off the post. Dump back behind now for Will Vaith. Knocked off a stick to the line. O'Malley keeps it alive. Banks up now through Vaith. Intercepted by Bergert and cleared out to center ice. And we were that close.
What an opportunity.
To a tie.
What an opportunity there for Penn State. But I hate to say this. It looks like the net's a little bit off. It looks like there's like 6 inches on one side and only like 2 inches on the other.
Something that may factor in. Actually, you know what? That last shot may have gone in if it wasn't for the net being off.
True.
But we'll never know as Daly moves in. Takes a shot, goes wide. Rebound goes back behind. Daly tries to throw out in front. Steered away by Junod. And coming the other way is Russo. Russo moved to the far side for Grilly. Grilly goes back to the point where it's intercepted. Dumped in deep by Russo again. Into the corner now. This is Ling. Backhands to the near side point for Winchester. Winchester, little trouble controlling. Steered away to center ice. Possible break here for Dietrich. Coming in 2-on-2 now. Takes a shot, deflected high and out of play. Play stopped with 13:21 left to go in the second period. And you know what? Kolodenko doesn't want to move the net because I think it's lucky now.
Yeah. Yeah, that net was in good position for that post.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, now he realizes that. Yeah, that's way off. See? Told you. Yeah, that net being off in that position definitely saved them from a tie game.
So a little bit of controversy as it's dumped all the way down, and icing is called.
Well, that was a tight race.
Yeah, almost winning it back was Bonazelli. 13 minutes, 13 seconds left to go in the second period. 1-0 in favor of Ryder on Pete Malamud's third of the season.
Penn State looking to tie this one up still as they had a good flurry of activity down by Kolodenko, but Kolodenko better kiss that post, and also thank goodness that net was off position a little bit there.
Cleared all the way down, not going to make it for icing though. His shower comes up with it, he overskates it a bit. Coming now is Bonazelli, pins it to the boards, looking for some help. Coming in to help out, though, was a Ryder player. Dumped right back in, though, by Jones. Malamud will try the far side this time. He'll connect with Grilly. Got a piece of it. It's going to be kept in the zone by Vaith. Vaith throws it out in front, through Bonazelli and into the corner. Getting there first is Malamud. Malamud on the near side. Gains the line, shouldered off there. Shower comes out to center ice now, looking for Dietrich, who battles with Winchester. Here's Shower once again. Shower up ahead, glove down by Grilly. If he can gather, it could be a 2-on-2. Over the stick of Malamud, though. And it's controlled by the Lions. Passed up ahead by Jones, intercepted. Here comes Shower into the zone. He fires, deflection, saved by Lothar. Rebound still loose, and then skated away by Vade. And deflected and
duck and cover.
It comes out of play. Fantastic deflection out in front.
Yeah,
wow.
Definitely a good look there. Lothar, man, great positioning on that one. And, Ryder almost made this one 2-0, but 12-17 remains here in the second period. Ryder holding on to a 1-0 lead. Penn State, boy, they're being contained quite well here.
Oh, out in front. Shot comes in by Junod, but he goes high with it. Not even close to being deflected. He slams his stick to the ice in frustration.
Oh, Frankie. What were you thinking? You had the entire upper side of the net there wide open, and you teed that one off with a sand wedge.
He was looking to the upper net, but the wrong netting.
Yeah.
He hit the protective netting on the far side.
It's some twine.
Comes to the near side. Now this is Lewis coming up 2-on-2 for the Lions. Lewis cuts across. Lewis trying to throw out in front. Connects with Bricolo. Back to the point. O'Malley with a drive. Blocked down by Gifford. He felt it. Here's Bricolo. Intercepted by Junod. Junod will clear all the way down. That's Mike Junod who clears. And icing called a little early. But it's 11:51 left to go. In the second, what's a couple of yards between friends?
That number one line out there for Penn State, buzzing around with some activity. Bricolo working with it there, and now they got Starn and O'Malley combination up top. Starn's got a good shot, and so does O'Malley, and O'Malley was really smart with the puck on the fence when he's working it up top.
Zitterelli off the faceoff, tried to cut his way out in front, but it's intercepted, and Junod passed up ahead looking for the other Junod, Frank. But it's intercepted right back, and here comes Lewis into the zone. Lewis with a shot blocked away by Junod. Rattles off the backboards, covered up by Kolodenko, and play stopped with 11:36 left to go in the second.
Now I think Ryder's going to take advantage of that whistle and stoppage by Kolodenko there on that save to get out a line that properly matches up here with this number one Penn State line.
And a line with some legs as they were getting a little bit gassed out there.
Oh, yeah. That's why they iced it.
Face-off is down. Intercepted nicely there. Good play by Kennedy to dump it back. Off the glass. Kept alive, though, off of Lewis. He battles with Kennedy. Rossi lurking as well. Goes into the corner. Back behind now for Shower. Up ahead, Lewis tried to grab it. Goes back to the point for O'Malley. O'Malley settles. Fires. Blocker saved by Kolodenko, and he holds on. Stopping play with 11:20 left to go in the second. We had a real good angle of that shot.
Oh, yeah.
And a good job by Kolodenko looking through the traffic to make the stop.
Well, it was a clear lane there by the time the shot went through and actually made it within about 5-10 feet out from Kolodenko. Saw that went through, made the easy save, and we'll have another face-off off to his left.
Face-off is down and controlled by Shower. Tries to loft to the head, lost control, gets it right back, luckily for him. As lurking there was Ryan Urban. Urban with a check back behind the cage, cleared around by Engel, though.
I think Ryder wanted a penalty on that one.
Back to the point, taking the shot, Russo. Cuts deep, tries to cut his way out in front, but steered away by Kennedy. Thrown out in front again, but it's covered up by Kolodenko. And finally getting some pushing and shoving as Rossi battled a bit with Russo.
Everyone's raising their sticks up in the air. They're getting the fists up in the face there as Russo made his presence known in front of the net, crashing towards it and looking for the loose change off of Kolodenko. But Kolodenko doing some fine work there, covering it up every chance he can.
Some nice snarl developing in this game. We've been waiting for that. We're about 30 minutes in. Cleared out the center ice by Ryder. Not going to make it for icing as Winchester gets back. Winchester. Giveaway now to Dietrich, though. Back behind the cage. Malamud in the corner. The goal scorer in this one. He gets shouldered off there by Urban. Cleared to the line and out to center ice. Race for the puck. Getting back first, though, will be Fox as he banks it off the boards. Taken now by Mike Junot. Long pass across for Malamud. Coming in 2-on-2. Malamud cuts wide. Malamud tries a shot. He fanned on it. Still digging at it, though. Trying to one-hand to hand was Winchester. Winchester will move out. Possible 3-on-1. Now it's a 3-on-2. Here comes Urban. Urban drops it off for Winchester. Passes behind him. Fans on a backhand try. And it's cleared to the line. Kept alive, though, by Vincent. Dumps into the corner. Here's Verluska thrown out in front. Deflected wide by Vincent. Here is Urban. Back behind. Tries to bank it on the back of the cage. Malamud gets there first. Knocked down nicely by Russo. He tries a shot. Blocked down in front. Here comes Dietrich coming out 3-on-3 for Ryder. Pass across nicely for Grilly. Right back in front. Trying to cut through is Dietrich. He gets hooked off. Thrown out in front again, but Malamud could not control as it's knocked off by Vincent.
Surprised there was no penalty on that.
Digging at it at the side of the cage. Could not get it out in front. Both Grilly and Dietrich were digging at it. Dumped in deep there by Mike Junot. Come off for the change, and here's Mac Winchester. Winchester near side, through Bergert, all the way down. Icing is waved off as it's now intercepted and thrown out in front. Too strong for Bracolo, receives it off the half boards. Bracolo into the corner. Now for O'Malley. O'Malley with it. Controlled into the corner now, Zittarelli. Back to the point, starting to look like a power play as here comes O'Malley with a drive. Deflection, score! Bracolo with the brilliant deflection out in front. His second of the tournament. His 10th of the season.
All I got to say is all the credit in that whole setup goes to Lewis. Lewis not stopping his feet from getting down there to win the race on that icing. I mean, it was very close. That race was very close. And if Lewis did not win out that battle to get down there to get that puck in time, that would not have happened. So Penn State is on the board.
Bracolo, the former Green Mountain Glade, with the goal. O'Malley gets the assist. And Starn controls. We're tied at 1 with 9 minutes left to go in the second period.
I think Green Mountain might have merged with Portland up there in the EJHL. Yeah, that rings a bell.
Green Mountain, I guess that's in Vermont, I would guess.
Yes.
The Stowe, Vermont areas. It's thrown out in front again. As there goes Dave Stearns going on the internet to confirm. He's our ombudsman here.
Oh, yeah. Step boy.
Thrown out in front off a stanchion, but nobody was there for Ryder. And here comes Penn State the other way. This is Lasik moving in. Lasik with the drive. Saved by Kolodenko. Holds on, stopping play. 8:30 left to go in the second period.
Well, some rough stuff going on there, but Penn State obviously keeping their heads here, and now they're having a talk in there with the lines. But, yeah, just that goal is going to dictate a lot of what's about to happen here as we're reset back to 0 with 8:30 left here in the second. Now, Ryder's turn to respond, and, you know, I like what I've seen out of Ryder's offense today, but Penn State is starting to kind of learn their game, and they're reacting appropriately.
DeMarco will lift it out to center ice for the Bronx. Knocked down by Winchester. Should have been a hand pass, but wasn't. It's controlled by DeMarco. He'll backhand into the corner. Trying to throw it in front was Junod, but it's cleared off the glass and out to center ice. Could be a rush the other way. Near side, this is Austin Meehan. He'll dump in back behind the goal. Kolodenko is there. Clears around now for DeMarco off his stick left down by Winchester. He'll try to one-handed forward for Austin Meehan, but he gets pinned to the boards. A 2-on-2 scrum ensues. Still digging at it. Coming to help is Vaith. He tries to move it up ahead. Lifted out to center ice by DeMarco and all the way down. Race for the puck as icing is delayed and now called. Play stopped with 7:55 left to go in the second period. It stays 1-1.
Yeah, what happens here in the last 8 minutes is really going to be crucial here. And, if these two teams go into the locker room, tied up at 1, all the credit in the world for Penn State reacting appropriately after that first period. But, is 1-1 the result they want? No, they obviously want to be up 2-1 here, as now they're peppering Ryder with all they got, really.
Mike Junot tries to backhand the head, goes off the leg, trying to cut out in front of his Vaith. He gets cut off there. And here comes DeMarco. Knifed off his stick. Good play by Relusko. Gives him a forearm shiver. Pass up ahead for Frank Junot, who one-hands into the zone. Up to center ice now, Relusko. Nice pass up ahead. Coming in 3-on-4. Near side, this is Urban. Urban drops it off. Now for Vincent. O'Malley calling for the pass, thrown out in front, but it's intercepted. Going the other way, this is Frank Junod. 3-on-2 across the near side for Kennedy. Kennedy with a shot. Blocker save by Lothar. Behind the cage, O'Malley takes control. He gets pushed off by Junod. Now, this is Urban. Cleared to the line. Kept alive by Shower. He tries to bull his way into the corner. O'Malley knocks it away. Now, Junod, turn around, try at the side of the net. Maybe Lothar got a piece. Big hit in the corner, but Junod goes down. Here comes Lopez with another try save. Rebound! Junod could not get the handle as it's knocked away by Vincent. This is Russo trying to get around Malusko. Spins through a couple of checkers, but not the last one as it goes off sides. It looked like Steve Junod stayed on, but the linesman right on top of it. Play stopped with 6:49 left to go in the first.
Checkers. We got the Charlotte Checkers out there. Boy, it's been a while since I've seen them.
Charlotte Checkers?
Is it the Charlotte Checkers? Oh.
I like the Charlotte Checkers. I like Checkers hamburgers as well, just saying.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I'm hungry all of a sudden. By the way, I was correct on our trivia question. I win a free cheeseburger. Yeah, it was Green Mountain that merged with Portland out of the AJHL to move up to the EJHL.
With the Portland Junior Pirates, I would
Yes, indeedy.
Resident junior hockey expert to my right. And it's controlled by Russo. Lost it up ahead. Passing's too strong for Lewis, but he'll win the race for the puck, so no icing called. Lewis trying to drop it off for Zittarelli. He has it in the corner. Fans on a pass. Now gets it over for Ricola. Back to Zittarelli as they try the two-man game, but it's knocked away. Good job with the kick stop by Zittarelli. Thrown across for Lewis. Lewis settles, takes a shot, deflection, score! It went off the leg of the defenseman Fox and goes in. 6:15 left to go in the second, and it's 2-1 Penn State.
Geez, how did that goal happen? I'll tell you why. Same thing that happened the last time Penn State scores. Lewis wins the race in the icing. Oh, baby. Penn State takes their first lead in this game with 6:15 left here in the second. Great work by Lewis all around on that, winning the race for the icing and taking the shot from the point.
Sometimes, even though you out-talent a team, you have to do the hard work. Chris Lewis gets credit for the goal, his second of the tournament, his 21st of the season. Leading scorer for this team, the former Boston Bulldog, gives the Penn State Ice Lions.
The Bulldogs no longer exist, too.
Are they the Rangers now?
Yes, they are the Rangers.
The Boston Rangers, which seems immoral to me, by the way.
Yeah, that's strange.
That's like the Detroit Blackhawks. That doesn't
right?
work.
It doesn't mix.
But controlling is Winchester. Pass ahead, almost intercepted by Dietrich. Taken over by Berger. Berger gains the line. He'll dump in deep. 5 minutes, 55 seconds left to go in the second. Berger looks down at his leg. He may have a little bit of a tweaking injury there as it comes back to the point. Wrist shot attempted by Fitton. He fanned on. And it goes off a leg and all the way back down. Kolodenko way out of his crease. He'll steer it up ahead and out to center ice, trying to connect with Grilly, who chops it past Russo, but Russo had the presence of mind to already be cutting back. Russo forced into the corner by Grilly. Banks it up ahead, and here comes Penn State the other way. Neat pass across now for Vaith. Vaith across to the near side for Jones. Takes a very late shot after the offsides. But Ryder seems to be okay with it. So play is stopped with 5:26 left to go in the second period.
I could see if that shot came up and hit him in the mask, they might go after him, but they're just going to let him skate away, and he makes his way to the bench there. But, you know, as I was saying just before Penn State made it 2-1, I told you they didn't want to be there at 1-1 going into the dressing room. What did they do? They popped in another one. All the credit in the world to Lewis working his keister off, and Penn State's going to try to keep this one going and maybe put up another one before they go into the dressing room.
Well, Ling gave it the old college try there, but a nice glove save by Kolodenko. Play stop. 5:18 left to go second period.
I'll correct you, a university try.
University try. Penn State University. With about 1,000 different campuses in Pennsylvania.
Oh, I know. How many? Really?
Including a couple of successful ACHA teams at Brandywine and at Berks. Controlled now. Into the corner. Here is Daly. Puts it back behind. Ling tries to throw out in front. Bobby Callow will just get it up to center ice. It's right back in by O'Malley. Knocked down by Engels. Near side now for Shower. Shower off the top of the dasher. And controlled by Junod, who gets squeezed off by Daly. Daly backhanded it back on goal. Good job by Lothar to steer it away.
Yeah.
Very rarely do you see a pass back to the goaltender. I don't think that was his intention.
No, definitely was not.
The only time I used to see it, interception moving in here is Callow. Callow with a shot. Just missed on the short side. Maybe getting a piece was Lothar. Far side shot comes in. Oh, it's squeezed through. Lowther, but goes wide. Shower throws out in front. Knife down in front nicely by Callow. Come on over. Junod with a shot blocked in front. Another shot comes in. Oh, off the outside of the post by Steve Junod. Ryder absolutely buzzing.
Wow.
But could not finish. Lazik keeps it in. Shot comes in, deflected. And covering up is Kolodenko.
Great reaction. Great reaction by Ryder on that flurry of activity inside the Penn State zone. It kind of started with that pass back to Lothar there. There's just a bunch of confusion, and I think Penn State was confused all around on that shift, and Ryder was just peppering away. And, boy, hitting the post and all. Oh, baby. Lothar, kiss your post.
Face-off is down, one back to Russo. Russo cuts across, trying to make his way into the corner, and does around Russo. Dumps back, trying to throw out in front again. Nothing there as it comes back to the point once again for Winchester. Plenty of time, fires high. Near side, Zittarelli with the captaincy. Trying to make his way into the corner, goes awfully back to the point, faking the shot, Russo. Snaps it up ahead for Zittarelli, into the corner for Bacolo. Bacolo back to the point for Russo. Russo trying to get around Fitton, nothing there. Shouldered off into the corner, going down was Russo. Back behind the cage, though, is Lewis. Lewis thrown out in front of the side of the cage. Is covered up by Kolodenko. And the referee points right away to Brandon Russo.
Oh, boy.
I think this might be an argument situation. I think he said to Russo, not another word. And now there's an argument with the head coach, Matt Morrow. And again, you said earlier that he was mild-mannered. Maybe he's in playoff mode now, too, just ramping up the emotion.
There's a spark. But look at him. He's very calculated in his hand gestures, and I hope he's using the appropriate language, which obviously he is because he hasn't been tossed yet.
Face-off is down and controlled by Ryder. This is Pete Malamud. Rattles around the Harbor City Hockey Club sign, out of play. Play stopped with 3:27 left to go in the second period.
Well, Ryder's looking desperately to get out of their zone after that flurry of activity earlier, but now this top line for Penn State, they're having some discussions here. Zittarelli is talking with the referee. I'm not sure what exactly they're arguing about. Maybe they're talking about the play along the side of the net there. It looked like Kolodenko got his skate right up against the post, and I think they may be debating whether or not that crossed the line, and maybe that's the case. Maybe that's why Russo went right over to the referee, and Zittarelli's having a conversation as well.
To the referee's credit, he's letting him get his argument in. Not that he's going to change his mind, but he's letting him speak his mind, but not too long. You don't want to be here till midnight.
They're taking their sweet old time here to get this face-off underway.
Zittarelli will get kicked out, though, as Lewis will move in. Lewis tries to win it forward to himself, almost succeeded, but Junod is there. Junod will pass it up ahead, looking for Grilly, too strong for him. Near side, Dietrich, a little bit of a flash there on Russo, who responds with a left forearm as Junod gets it up ahead, deflected. On goal, Lothar will cover up with 3:10 left to go in the second. He pushed down a little too easily was Malamud rather.
That was Mac Winchester dishing it out. He's got 32 penalty minutes on the year. He's third on the team in penalties, which if you look at penalties in this column here for Penn State versus any other team, they are considerably low, if you will.
Kind of tough to score and win when you're in the box constantly.
True. That's why they got the auto bid.
As much as you want to watch hockey, that's not the best seat in the house.
No, it's not.
Here's Relusko. Relusko tries to cut across. He gets cut off, and a penalty coming up. Trying to cut his way through is Urban. Touched up by Ryder, and Penn State will go on only the second power play of this game for either club. Both to Penn State. They're 0 for 1.
Now Dietrich is kind of in disbelief here that he got called for that hook. I don't know what his argument it is. It's like, well, maybe I was holding him instead, and you're calling me for a hook. Well, I didn't hook him, I held him. I don't know, but he looked like he had a solid wrap on his man there, breaking towards the net, and now we're going to have a power play here for the Penn State Ice Lions.
Chance here to go up to later stages of the second period. Winchester, second bite of the apple. He takes a shot, and it's covered up by Kolodenko. The initial shot blocked right back to him. He had a nice reaction there to just try once again. But Kolodenko strong on the puck. It may have been deflected on its way in. It looked like it was a bouncing puck.
It did. That second bite of the apple is the tastiest there, as he actually had that one deflected up front off the defenseman for Ryder. We'll see if Penn State can repeat that. Oh, maybe not.
Grilly tries to move out past Winchester. Direction that is Gifford moving in wide. Gifford, sharp angle shot, saved by Lothar. He gathers up and covers. Play stopped with 2:39 left to go in the second. 1:43 remaining in the Penn State Ice Lion power play.
Yeah, like I said before, only 2 shorthanded goals for Ryder on the season here, and Gifford's not one of them that has it, but good rush by him and forcing the face-off there to the left of Lothar.
Kept in near side. This is Russo. Russo takes the shot. Direction as Rossi. Rossi Russo. Tomato as he does
Close.
whistle it wide. As this is Brandon Russo now. I'll get it right. 1:28 left to go in the power play. Lifted near side. Here's Urban. Cut off, but coming on back to grab it is Taylor Vincent. Far side for Russo. Russo tries it. Cuts it across. Shouldered off. Good check on him by Daly. And Burgert able to slap it all the way down.
Looks like those soft hands of Russo got the best of him there as he got checked off the puck there. He's a little too worried about dangling.
Intercept possibility here for Daly. Taken over by Rossi. Tries to throw it out in front. Nobody there as it was blocked away. O'Malley calmly gets it back behind the cage for Starn. Starn, former Pittsburgh Junior Penguin. Gets it up now for O'Malley. O'Malley looking for Lewis, who was not ready for it. A little bit of a miscommunication there. That allows Ryder to kill some more clock. Starn will try the near side for Bacolo. Too strong for him. Shower comes up with it. Banks it up now for Daly. Daly goes through him. Now it's going to be O'Malley. He moves into the zone. Cuts across. One hands it down for Zittarelli on his backhand. Cuts to his forehand. Throw it out in front. And he scored! Brilliant pass out in front for Chris Lewis. His second of the game. His third of the tournament. And his 22nd of the season.
I think he got the first goal. I've already forgotten about that one.
Mike Ricolo.
Ricolo did, that's right. Lewis set that up off the icing win. That's why I'm sitting there thinking Lewis might have done something there like a hat trick, but no, he is in on all 3 of Penn State's goals tonight, and what an impact player he is in that power play. Was looking like it was stymied all the way up until that last rush, They couldn't get anything set up, but man, oh man. All the credit in the world there to Lewis, once again making sure that his team takes that 2-goal lead into the dressing room. Boy, I'm starting to think that I have some sort of crystal ball sitting around here somewhere. I'm predicting the future.
After the game, Dave Stearns is buying me a lottery ticket as it goes back behind the cage with 1:10 left to go in the second. Lifted out to center ice. It'll go all the way down, but not strong enough for icing, so Connor Fox comes up with it. Fox, the former New Jersey Titan, will one-hand it up ahead now. Russo with the intercept. Russo near side for Winchester. Less than a minute to go. Winchester, long shot over the head of Kolodenko and over the cage, where it's controlled now though by Daly. He tries to come out in front. He gets cut off by his number 6 Fox. Back to the point. Faking the shot was Russo. He'll move up the boards. Then he tries the shot and it goes wide. Pinching in Winchester. He'll up into the corner. 38 seconds left to go in the period. Glove down. Controlled by Penn State. This is Daly back behind the cage, looking to throw out in front, but it's Callow. He'll clear out the center ice. Good job by Russo to spin it up ahead now for Ling. Ling will cut to the near side. Ling with some speed, but in the zone too soon was Lasig as he got pushed off by a Ryder player.
Yeah.
Player stopped with 22.7 left to go.
Yeah, he was tangled up there, and I think he was looking for a call there, but he won't get it. I mean, he had a solid argument maybe for an interference call, but there's just some tangling up there at the blue line. But going back to that previous goal by Lewis there, great work again, by Penn State to make sure that they keep the momentum going after they score goal after goal after goal. 3 unanswered goals. And Ryder has to respond here. Otherwise, it's going to be a sad, sad head-hanging walk off the ice during a second intermission.
Starn will lift it up ahead. Shot comes in. Glove down by Kolodenko as that Will Vaith's shot looked like it was going to go harmlessly wide, but Kolodenko holds on just in case.
They need to give him a little more support there up front. He was hung out to dry on the last 3 goals. I ain't gonna lie. Kolodenko's had a solid game here, but he needs more support from his defensemen up front. Clear the lanes there.
Backhand try there by Vaith is deflected into the corner. Down to 6 seconds left. Penn State maybe looking for one more, but it's going to be cleared up ahead. Off of Starn, who felt that one. Goes into the corner. Just a heck of a way to end your second period. You're happy you're up 3-1, but here's a puck to your side.
Yeah, right. Well, Lewis is definitely the story of that period. As we see here on camera, he definitely made his presence known out there as the leading goal scorer for this team. He is now up to 22 goals?
22 goals on the season, yes.
And then that will bring his power play total. He had 1 last night on the power play. He has another 1 on the power play today. Did he have 2 on the power play today?
No, just the 1.
Just the 1. They only capitalized on the 1. So he is up to 10 power play goals this season. Great work by Lewis and great work by the Penn State Ice Lions to react appropriately after being down 1-0 after 1.
And speaking of, it was work. All 3 goals were your typical workman-like goals, all below the face-off circle.
Very blue-collar.
Very blue-collar. Again, with Penn State, with the amount of talent that they have they could score in so many different ways. Fancy goals, power play shorthanded. These were all hard-working, muck-raking goals, and all the credit in the world to Penn State. But Kolodenko, he's been held, I wouldn't be left out to dry, but all three of those goals,
Maybe two.
two of them were really hard-working, no chance. The other one he maybe could have got. Again, Kolodenko has played a fine game as well.
Well, that deflection one, I couldn't fault him at all on that one. I mean, he was positioned well with the shot there, but then that deflection totally threw him off guard.
Especially when it's off your own man.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly. Well, all right, let's take a break here. Let's take it into the intermission. Boy, we've been talking for almost an hour straight here. Well, maybe that's a little overgenerous. No, it's about right.
About an hour, yeah.
Yeah, so stay tuned, folks. Penn State responding with 3 goals here in the second period, taking a 3-1 lead. This is the Cross Ice Feed with David Stearns and IYM Sports Radio's Tom Wilms after 2 periods of play. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody, to Ice World in Abingdon, Maryland. Mid-Atlantic Collegiate Hockey Playoffs resume here as Penn State has a 3-1 lead on Rider here in the Mock North semifinal. Lewis was the story of that second period, in on all 3 goals, winning out the icing on 2 of them. And then the power play goal he put in himself.
We are back underway. Thanks, Dave Stearns. I'm Tom Wilms, borrowing his channel. Glad to do it as well. It's a lot of fun here this weekend so far. It's a nice pass up ahead. Coming in with a shot. He scores! That's how you start a period, Chris Daly. 19:43 left to go in the third, and it's 3-2 Penn State.
Daly is a great two-way player there. 18 goals, 18 assists. Now that's his 19th goal on the season here. Man, oh man, did he light up Lothar. Boy, that was quick. 17 ticks in here. Rider showing they're not going down without a fight as they close the gap within 1.
Chris Daly's 5th of the tournament, his 23rd of the season.
There we go.
He scored 4 yesterday against Rowan. Just 17 seconds into the period. That is awesome, considering we love close games. We're not rooting for anybody, but we love close games, and we have one right here. It's dumped all the way down. Chasing us down, Dietrich tries to throw out in front, but it's steered away by Penn State's Ryan Urban. He goes back behind the cage. This is Starn. Starn, little trouble with it. Knocked off, thrown out in front. Dietrich had a deflection, but it goes wide as it bounced around like a pinball. And it goes to the far side for O'Malley. O'Malley up now for Relusco. Lifting it up now, looking for Vincent. Too strong for him, and icing is called. Very close race, where they're saying that Connor Fox won it.
I can see one player out here that I really like, and, he's kind of deceptive out there, and that is Dietrich. Dietrich, positioning himself quite well up front there in front of the net. He kind of reminds me of a Thomas Vanek, looking for the garbage goals and fighting his way to the front, looking for the opportunities to stuff it in, and, keep him buzzing up there over there on that right wing.
Face-off is down and is controlled by Penn State. Looking up is Vincent, trying to connect with Relusco. Cut off by Schauer. Taken right back by O'Malley. Knocked down by Schauer once again. Schauer out of Hamilton, New Jersey, former Tri-State Select. Lifts it out to center ice, and here is Dietrich. Tries to move on in, but he gets cut off. And coming in a little too soon was Pete Malamud to play stop with 19:01 left to go in the third.
Yeah, Dietrich there on the camera there, as you see, going off the ice on a change. 5'7" there. He's a little bit on the small side, but you know what? That's the perfect size to put there out in the front of the net. Kind of get lost in the mix.
Face-off is down and goes all the way back behind the cage. This is Brandon Russo. We've talked about him a lot today as well. Missing yesterday's game, but he's back and thrown out in front again. Russo tells Lothar that I got it, and he goes back behind the net. We can see a lot of Virginia Tech players have hung around. They are doing some scouting. They'll be in the championship game tomorrow. Just waiting to find out the outcome of this one as Peter Daly moves in. He tries a shot over the head of Kolodenko. He may have buzzed his skull cap as it goes back behind the cage again. Here's Daly thrown out in front, but it's steered away. Going down in front there was Ling. And here comes Ryder the other way. Pass ahead off the stick of Kennedy, controlled by Starn. Cross now. Cutting it off is Daly. He'll try to move in. Daly forced into the corner. Starn cuts him off. A little bit of a cross check there. Referee says no call. 2-on-2 scrum. Rossi taps it back behind the cage, but here comes Kennedy. Kennedy back behind. Throws out in front of Rossi, but it goes off the leg of Russo. Comes around to the near side boards. Things will kind of slow down a little bit as Ryder putting on some pressure. But Penn State doing a good job keeping him to the outside. Brandon Russo spins around back behind the net again. Far side, Lasik. On the near side, looking for Ling. Too strong for him. 17:43 left to go in the third period. And I got to say, Ling, he may be our only international player in this tournament. Nicholas Yost, I believe he was listed as international at one point, but he's not.
With the pronunciation of his
you
name
would think
now,
so.
But he's from Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan. So, well, I guess you can call that international. It's almost Canada.
That's kind of, is that UPR area? Is that in the UP? Or is that further down? I'm not up on my Michigan geography. But we were talking about international players. Mm-hmm. Frederick Ling out of Prosgren, Norway.
You're talking international like Europe, where we had a bunch of Canadians there on the Liberty team.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I don't really count them as international. I count them as brothers.
North Americans.
Yes.
Controlled by Ryder in their own zone. 17:30 left to go in the third period. Greeley having trouble getting out of the zone. It's kept alive by Jones. Big check there by Fox. as they're trying to tap it up ahead. It's Pete Malamud. It goes into the corner. O'Malley gets there, cleared around to the far side. Coming on back, though, is Mike Junod, one of the 3 Junods on this team. And I believe I was wrong when I said there were 3 brothers. I think it's 2 brothers and a cousin.
Okay.
I have to confirm that, as Grilly will dump in deep. Maybe someone out there can let us know, as Penn State controls. Lifted up by Jones out to center ice. Cut off, though, by Andrew Engel. Engel goes down hard after getting decked. Referee right on top of the play saying, keep it going. It's come down for Grilly. Grilly on the near side. Grilly cuts across with a shot off the leg of Starn. Taken right back by Malamud. Malamud into the corner. Tries to spin it out in front for Shower. Too strong for him. Engel comes up with it and dumps into the corner, but only got as far as Russo. Russo cuts across. Could be a 2-on-2. Russo trying to get through Engel. Turns it into a 2-on-1. Engel, good hip check out there by Shower. And here comes Ryder the other way. Frank Junod moving in 2-on-1. Junod into the circle with a shot. Save and a beauty by Lothert. He just challenged him and dared him to beat him. But a good job by Lothert stopping play with 16-13 left to go in this period.
Gutsy work. Gutsy work by Lothert coming out there to challenge the shooter. And, once again down here, Russo, we saw him with his hands worked out there out in the open ice. Earlier, we recall at center ice, he got his clock cleaned. And same case happened here as he tried to go through too many people.
Lifted into the corner. Bracolo throws out in front. Diving into the goal is Lewis.
Uh-oh.
And Kolodenko goes at him.
There was a punch to the head up there up front. I believe it was Bracolo that got, who is that? That was Connor Fox that got punched right in the head. And, boy, Bracolo should sit for that. My God. He just popped him right in the head. I'll
tell you right now, it did not look like there was any malice there on Lewis. He's just aggressive. Went right into Kolodenko. As a goaltender, you're not thinking of contact at all during the game.
Especially when you're in the crease.
And he just snapped for a couple seconds there.
Yeah.
We may have a 4-on-4 situation as our cameraman is pointing towards us.
Uh-oh. Yeah, he definitely emphatically went, hey, in the box. And that was down the Ryder side, so.
And I'll be honest with you, this referee is one of the best in the region. A couple of years ago, he was at the ACHA Division III national tournament. He's actually lined some AHL games as well.
Oh, yeah.
And his name escapes me. I feel terrible about that, but he's a fantastic referee.
We'll find out in a second. Hold on.
Yeah, Sean probably knows. Say nothing. Sean forgot his name too.
Yeah, but he's really good. I like the way he's been officiating this one now. Open ice 4-on-4 for the next 2 minutes. 16:03 left here in the third. 3-2 Penn State. I think that the edge will go to Penn State on this open ice, especially if they have Lewis and Zittarelli out there, which they do, and then O'Malley and Starn working the points there. I definitely like what I see out of this combo out here. Obviously, if it were 5-on-5 or 5-on-4, we would see Bracolo rounding out this lineup here.
Instead, he's sitting in the box, I believe. You think he's one of the combatants in there. But right on goal, Kolodenko will cover up. And Zittarelli just kind of lofted it on cage. Again, unfortunately, we do not have numbers on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
And they are way on the other side of us. We've got penalty boxes, so.
They just got with the Ryder penalty.
Zittarelli with it, top of the circle, turns and fires. Glove save and a beauty by Kolodenko, and he holds on, stopping play. Just 10 seconds into the 4-on-4.
Definitely a nice save there. Penn State's going to start peppering on the shots here. They want that 2-goal lead back again, and Ryder, they're going to try to work with this open ice here. I haven't seen them on the open ice just yet.
Puck is down. Out to center ice it comes, but O'Malley will catch up with it, and away from the play, a couple of players collided. Dietrich and Starn, but nothing comes of that. And Ryder is on the forecheck, but comes back to Zittarelli. Possible 3-on-2 here. Zittarelli moving on in. Zittarelli, top of the circle. Forced to his backhand. Throws it out in front off the side of the cage as it was deflected off the skate of Dietrich. Spinning around Zittarelli. Zittarelli spins to the corner once again. Has a cutter. Relusco doesn't get it to him. Goes back to the point for Starn. He fakes the shot. Up ahead now for Zittarelli. Zittarelli at the hash mark. Zittarelli cuts across. Lost control, gets it right back. A little too anxious there, Zittarelli. He wants to get something going as it goes now to Relusco. Back to the point for Starn. Starn settles, fires deflected out in front, still loose, and then cleared. Home run pass, and it connects. Moving up is Dietrich. Dietrich comes in, and where is it? No signal, and what a stop by Lothert. The way Lothert reacted, I thought it might have gone in.
There it is.
But
He's a
there
magician.
it is. Brilliant stop by Lothert. And we stay a 3-2 lead for Penn State.
Oh, there you see David Copperfield there as he showed us a little bit of a trick.
You'd think that he'd been a little more emphatic about the save, but especially since the couple of goal calls missed in this one.
Yeah.
Could have been afraid of a linesman or a referee pointing instead of paying attention. As
Question is, was his leg behind the line?
We'll never know as it comes back to the point. Shot comes in just wide of the glove of Kolenenko on the wrister from Russo. 2-on-2 scrum on the near side, comes out to center ice. Russo cuts across now for Verlusco. Verlusco to the far side, banks it up ahead, goes off the stick of Engel, who chases it back. 20 seconds left to go in the 4-on-4. Through Shower. This allows Russo to move up. Russo throws it out in front. Deflection saved by Kolenenko as Verlusco gets it right back after his deflection. Basically a 3-on-3 now as a couple of hangers comes across, and it's going to go into the corner. It does look like Chris Daly is cherry-picking a bit. Good job by Winchester recognizing and staying back. Because honestly, 3-on-3 actually benefits Penn State even more. But now we're back to 5-on-5. Back behind his own goal, Ryan Urban, the former Westchester Quaker, gets it up ahead. And it's lifted all the way down. Race for the puck is won by Ryder. It looked like Connor Fox just took a bad angle to that puck, but the linesman bought it. It goes for icing.
Well, Ryder looking to, continue it here as they struck early on, 17 seconds into this third period. And, things have kind of gone back and forth ever since. And now, 13:47 left here in the third. Ryder's going to have to tie this one up to maybe force our first overtime in this Mid-Atlantic Collegiate Hockey Playoffs.
That would be a lot of fun, but it's controlled now by Penn State. Cleared around to the far side, bouncing around the dash. A weird bounce there. Overskating a bit was Lasik, but gets it across to the near side. This is Daly teeing it up, but he hits the back of the boards before getting a shot off. Still got a decent shot, but not nearly as much as he would have took it a little quicker. As it comes out to center ice, dumped right back in by Lasik, but onto the stick of Connor Fox. The sky's up now through the legs of Malamud, who missed the glove. Tipped into the zone by Ryder. Coming on back is Fox, though. Fox, under pressure from his number 6, Daly. Spins around that. Comes out in front. Kolenenko desperately dives on top. And play is stopped. 13 minutes, 12 seconds left to go in the third period. Setting up for a real nice finish here, Dave.
This is the cross-ice feed as we combine forces with IYM Sports Radio's Tom Wilms. Fighting evil with lasers.
And we need to do this again. This has been a lot of fun.
A lot of fun, yep. And we'd like to thank our almost 300 viewers that tuned in yesterday to watch 4 games of Mid-Atlantic Collegiate Hockey Playoffs.
Yeah, you had about 300 on the video feed. It comes in on goal, and what are they going to call there?
They're going to call it an icing as he had his arm up. So, yeah, I missed the mark completely, and the linesman back here is kind of shaking his head, but he is signaling the icing. So, yeah, it was kind of a lackadaisical, okay, icing.
Yeah, speaking of the numbers yesterday, great numbers on IYM Sports Radio listening along as well. I understand people choosing the video feed first, but great time yesterday.
Better than nothing, though, but yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. So, shot comes in, saved by Kolenenko as it's thrown out in front to Vaith. And here comes Frank Junod, pass up ahead. Intercepted by Vaith once again, and he'll dump it in off of Gifford. Gifford goes down, and it comes out near side for Lopez. Lopez chasing down near side out of Parsippany. Parsippany Hills High School. He'll chop it into the zone. He was on the wrong side of the red line, but no icing called. Here comes Russo. Russo trying to avoid Gifford. Engel with a big check going down there as far as Dell. Lifted across, is getting tripped up, was me, and nothing called. Comes over now for Winchester, who dumps it in just wide of Kolenenko's cage. Another weird bounce on these stanchions. Intercept by Bracolo, comes out, takes a shot, just wide of the glove side. Frank Junod tries to tip it back into his own zone, avoiding Lewis, who gets hip checked down. Big check there by Shower as the physical play is picking up. Frank Junod with it. With 12:05 left to go in the third period, Ryder needing one to tie. Gifford across now for Fox. Correction, that's Engel. Around now for Giffords. Good job trying to keep in was Bracolo, but eventually just spirited out to center ice all the way down, and icing is called. Play is stopped. 11:50 left to go in the third period. It remains 3-2.
Definitely, these icings are going to start to hurt Ryder as they keep coming along here. And, the face-offs inside of Ryder territory, if Penn State gets a win, they are usually dangerous, especially if you get it up top to the point there to Starn and O'Malley, who are not afraid to take the shot. So let's see if Ryder can contain it and win this face-off and kind of move their way out. No, they'll lose it.
Shot comes in right at the faceoff save. Rebound, loose in the crease, still battling, but covered up by Kolodenko as both Ryan Urban and Taylor Vincent were desperately trying to knock home that insurance marker.
See, that was exactly what I'm talking about. Penn State winning these faceoffs inside Riders territory. Just taking the shots. They're not afraid to do it. And then when they get enough traffic up in front of the net, Kolodenko is left scrambling there and counting on his defense to clear the lanes.
Relusko gets it back to the point for O'Malley. Snaps it ahead now for Vase. Thrown out in front. Correction, that was Urban who just cleared it away. And it comes out to the line, kept alive, but followed up on the far side past Dietrich. But he's got some room. Coming way out of his crease is Lothert. Comes around to the near side. Grilly tries to cut it off. Goes back behind the cage again. Starn under pressure from Dietrich. Chops into the corner for O'Malley. Up now for Relusko. Lets it up to the center ice. Here comes Vincent with some serious speed. Vincent moving in wide. Vincent cuts wide. Trying to throw it out in front off the side of the cage. But steered away by Kolodenko as he's looking for Russo. Pass up ahead. Glove down there. Knockdown rather by Russo. Up now Relusko. Russo and Relusko. And you have a Rossi on the other side. Yeah, that won't get confusing, Tom. Is it coming in now on the near side? This is the aforementioned Relusko. Toe drings across. Backhand try off the side of the net. Relusko grabs it once again. Back to the point now. Winchester with a shot. That goes wide on the stick side. Pinching in. Here is Brandon Russo. Into the corner as he goes down. Goes back behind the cage for Vincent. Vincent comes on out. Had Zitterelli out in front. Goes back to the point instead for Winchester with a drive. That's deflected wide. 10:33 left to go, third period. Penn State putting on the pressure, trying to get one more. Goes back behind the cage, and this is Mike Junod with it. Junod settles, and he'll fire it down on goal, so they'll allow the change. Lothert just steers into the corner. Russo once again. Long pass ahead for Bracolo. Tips it forward now for Zitterelli. Zitterelli into the zone near side. Zitterelli across for Bracolo. Has room. Knifed down off him by Rossi, but followed up by Starn. Comes up top now for Zitterelli. He's on his back end. Throws it out in front. Letting it go was Lewis, and it goes wide. Maybe if Lewis got a piece of that, it could have been on goal. But instead, he tried to juke the netminder. Dumped in deep by Kennedy. He'll come in on the forecheck along with Steve Junod. Lothert clears around far side. Junod is there. Dumps back behind now for Kennedy. Kennedy tries to come out in front. Instead goes back behind. Now throws it out in front. Knifed down nicely by Russo and correction by Lewis. And he passes up ahead now for Bracolo. Coming in 2-on-2. Knifed away by Engels. Hits a weird bounce. Almost came out in front. And Junod gets it now for Kennedy. Kennedy gains the line. Gets wide. Trying to get around O'Malley. Tries a shot. Saved by Lothert. And he'll hold on, stopping play with Steve Junod right in his face. Play stopped with 9:27 left to go in the third period. It stays 3-2.
Penn State is holding Ryder to the outside with these shots. And, aside from the first rush that Bronx had on the opening of this period, they've been pretty contained here. And, Penn State, of course, getting a lot of faceoffs back in the Ryder zone and winning those faceoffs, taking a lot of challenging shots.
Grilly back behind, tries to bank it on, tries to the front side, still loose in front. And it is finally covered up by Lothert as Ryder trying to take a page out of Penn State's book in this game so far. Just trying to get a nice, ugly goal.
Just throw it up front and hope the deities that may have some weird bounce and deflect in, And we saw that earlier with one of the Penn State goals, it bounced off a defender up front off of Ryder.
Grilly with a shot, and that looks like it was deflected wide. Winchester tries to catch up. He gets cut off, goes back to the point now for Junod. Junod dumps back behind the cage for Malamud. Malamud making his way into the corner, pushed off by Winchester, trying to power his way through the check, goes back to the point for Junod. Junod tries a shot, deflected down in front by his own man, Russo. And that's going to be a high stick. That was really tight. That was close.
Yeah, he was trying to manage it. He was trying to manage the height on the stick, but, either way, you high stick it and you play it to yourself, it's still a high stick. So, yeah, definitely a good call there by the officials. But now Ryder has Penn State trapped inside their zone. I think it's their time to shine here if they want to take an opportunity. Now's the time to definitely do it with 9 minutes left here in the third. And
shot
down a goal.
Ooh, sorry, David.
Okay.
Shot by Russo was deflected out of play. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for that one either, to be honest with you. But good opportunity there by Mike Rossi, the former American Eagle.
Yeah. And Lothert has shown us in this game with the 2 goals that he has allowed that, he is human. He can't stop everything. And, it's just those bounces just going the way of Ryder when they do score.
Oh, pass back to the point for Junod with a shot deflected away. Rebound! Saved by Lothert, still loose and then eventually covered. We'll get some pushing and shoving as a Ryder player is down on the ice on his back. Referee does not look like he's calling a penalty. And is getting up very slowly. Looks like it's going to be Rossi again. Talks to the referee saying, can you please call a penalty? The referee says, no, thank you. 8:47 left to go here in the third period. 3-2 lead for Penn State. 2 for Lewis, 1 for Bracolo. Malamud and Daly, the goal scorers for Ryder, and we have a bit of a delay here. We have some debris. Actually, it's not debris. I think it's a puck. You need that.
He's about to pocket it.
Yeah. You're not a fan. You don't get to keep them there, buddy. Face-off is down. Goes back to the far side boards. Dump back line looking for Grilly. He gets pushed off by O'Malley. Coming over is Malamud. Malamud pushes his way to the corner. He looked at by 3 players, and he gets shouldered off on a big check. Good check there by Vaith, but it's intercepted. Dietrich tries a shot, blocked down, and cleared out to center ice. 8:27 left to go, third period. Lofted up ahead, glove down by Grilly. Backhands ahead, looking for Dietrich, too strong for him. Past Vaith, now under the stick of Fox, who banks it forward down for Grilly, moving in 2-on-2. Grilly cuts wide, Grilly with a shot, blocker saved by Lothar. Into the corner, O'Malley taps it back behind the cage. Malamud tries to squeeze through the check of Starn. Did a good job pinning him off, and it's controlled now by Penn State. Here's Bonazelli out of South Windsor High School in Connecticut. Ooh. Big check on him. Good hip check by Shower. And we are seeing a lot of that today. Great legal hits.
Oh, yeah.
One of the lost arts in hockey is not only the backhander, but the hip check. And it's been showcased here today as Rossi with a nice tip pass for Daly with a shot. Kick save by Lothar. Tough angle, but Lothar still forced to make a pretty good save. Comes back down for Shower with a drive save. Rebound, and it's cleared to the line. Turnaround try by Shower. He fanned that up. Bracolo gets it up ahead now for Zittarelli. Zittarelli with speed, now 2-on-2. Zittarelli moves in, takes a shot. Save, trickling towards the line. Still on. Tipped on goal. Waiting for a call. They're celebrating, but we are waiting, and they're saying no goal.
Whoa.
It looks like he's pointing directly to the dot, but still talking.
And there's an injured player behind the net there.
Penn State's celebrating, but nothing yet.
Oh, no, he's okay there, but
it looks like the linesman was there to make the call.
He's pointing to center. That's a goal.
And that is going to be a goal for Penn State. And head coach Sean Levin is not. Oh, they waved it off.
No goal. Whoa. That was a puck that was inevitably going past as Kolodenko was reaching back, and it was poked in as the net was being dislodged. I'm surprised they're calling this one no goal. Whoa.
He initially pointed towards center ice. Maybe he was saying, I'm going to make my explanation to them first. Maybe that was his thought process. He went to the box and said emphatically, no goal. That is a rough call. That's a tough call. The linesman was there on time. He could have made the call right there, but he deferred right away to the referee. It inevitably would have gone in. The net didn't really come off its moorings that far at that point. The net was off.
It was
but
right
there was
on
no
the line.
whistle, and it was right there.
Oh, I want an explanation.
Comes back to the point as Ryder may be getting a big break.
And if they strike next, oh boy.
Cleared off the leg, comes on back now. Russo tapped up the head now. Zittarelli into the corner, trying to spin away from that is Fox. Able to get control around Lewis. But a big check by Zittarelli, an angry check as it comes back to the top now for Russo. Throws it on goal, deflection saved by Kolodenko as it steered just wide.
Lewis is getting really physical. Penn State's out for blood.
They are very unhappy. It's cleared all the way down, and icing will be called with 6:47 left to go in the third period. Still 3-2.
I'm getting word here that the ruling was White knocked the net off. Penn State knocked the net off, so no goal. So they went crashing in there a little too hard even before that puck had a chance to cross the goal line.
Interesting call on that one. And I believe a timeout has just been called. Not sure who's calling.
It's probably Ryder.
I would think it would be Ryder as well, especially after that icing. They may be gassed a bit.
Yeah.
Getting to the latter stages of this game. Now, Dave, what does Ryder need to do to get back? They got a pretty good break there. What do you think that Ryder needs to do? I mean, they're just stuck in their own zone right now.
Yeah, you know, the one person that I'm seeing here that is hot on the score sheet all season long, who has been isolated and contained by Penn State, and, you know, he's got a good shot, but he hasn't had any opportunities now. That is Grilly. Grilly really needs the room here to flourish and take the shots that he needs, to pop them goals in. He's a great, scorer, great assister there. He creates plays, he makes plays, and he capitalizes on plays. I'd like to see him step up his play here, get his feet moving a little bit more. He's not as fast and fancy as most of these players, that are up on the top of the score sheet there in the stat column, but I think Grilly really needs to step up his game here in the final 7 minutes here of this third period to get his team tied up at 3.
Keep an eye on Grilly along with Chris Daly, who is already bucking for an MVP of this tournament. He's got 5 goals, scored 4 yesterday against Rowan.
It's hard to argue against that.
He's definitely going to be on the first team tournament, first tournament team, or however you say it. Say it correctly. I certainly can't do it as the timeout is over. 6:47 left to go in the third period. Face off to the left of Kolodenko, controlled by Junod. And lifted out to center ice, where it's knocked down by O'Malley. O'Malley takes it right back off of Malamud. Now to the far side, Frankie Relusco dumps in deep. That timeout may have been a good thing for Penn State as well, as they were getting a little angry. And the coach may have had an opportunity there to say, okay, let's just focus. It's over. Let's do our thing as they try to move in. Backhanded out in front, but steered away back to the point. Starn keeps it alive. He tries a wrist shot, deflected wide by a Rider defenseman. And it comes out to the line. Grilly will chop it out to center ice. Here's O'Malley. Comes up now for Urban. Nice pass up ahead. Moving in is Vincent. Vincent, top of the circle. The shot tried to go short side, but goes high. O'Malley dumped up. Rattles around the kick plate to the near side. And this is Pat Grilly. Head up. Skies it out to center ice, looking for the elevated pass with Dietrich. Dietrich tries to catch up with it and does. Dietrich cuts wide. Dietrich tears the shot, and it goes well wide. And thanks to that angle, it'll come out to center ice for Relusco. Leaves it aside for Russo. Gloves it up ahead. Obviously got a stick on it as Urban takes control. Gains the line. He'll pitchfork it into the corner. 5:40 left to go in regulation. Russo taps it into the zone. Lothar goes back behind the cage. Looks uncomfortable doing so. Lets it go into the corner. Oh, a big check there by Russo. Going down Daly. That was a forearm shot to the back of the head. And the frustration shows. And Ryder will go on their first power play of the game very late.
Yeah, Russo, not a very smart play on that one as he takes out Daly from behind. And Daly's got a lot of snow on him there. And, Lewis is kind of chatting with him after that. I think Daly's okay. But this is a very, very timely penalty. And after that, no goal call. And then Ryder looking to tie this one up here. This is certainly the time to do it. And this is the perfect opportunity.
Spinning around is Daly. Gets it over now for Russo. Takes the shot, save, rebound, loose in front, but unable to catch up with it while diving down was Daly. Daly and Grilly on the ice, along with Dietrich, Rossi, and Schauer. Still digging at it. Good job by Penn State, just trying to kill clock, but it comes over now for Grilly. Grilly comes out in front, gets hauled down, nothing called. Net comes off its moorings, and play is stopped with 5:09 left to go in the third.
Yeah, there's Grilly working at it up there in front of the net. That's what I was talking about there. He needs to show up and really do something for his team. Try to tie this one up. He is their leading point getter, and he needs to prove that here in this very important contest to help them move on to take on Virginia Tech tomorrow. And also a reminder, tomorrow, 9:45, that game for the final. Winner takes all.
That's AM, by the way, so get your cereal ready.
And coffee. Need your coffee.
Shot comes in, blocked down as Daly looking for his another goal. Cleared all the way down. Daly has 1 today, 4 yesterday, 5 on the tournament. 1:25 left to go on the Ryder power play, and here is Dietrich. He's to the side for Russo. Actually, that's Rossi. I got it wrong again as it's dumped in deep by Daly. Lothar off the boards and out to center ice. Good clear by Lothar.
Goalie to goalie.
Intercept by Urban. He'll backhand into the zone. Just kill some more clock. 1:05 left to go on the power play. Brian Schauer, junior from Hamilton, New Jersey.
The natives are restless. They're telling him to move it, move it, move it.
Getting decked just below us here was Rossi. Dumped in deep. Lothar is there. Leaves it aside for Winchester. Slams it around the kick plate out to the line. Schauer keeps it alive, but only temporarily. Getting tripped up is Urban. Penalty coming up. That was textbook. Great work, though, by Penn State drawing the penalty. We go to 4-on-4 for the next 45 seconds.
I thought he was, really smart there, Schauer, trying to go down there to keep it in there. But, you take down a man in the process. A trip's a trip. And just like that, 4-on-4 for the next 45 seconds with 4:15 left here in the third. That open ice, it definitely worked towards Penn State's favor. But let's see what Ryder can do here.
It is a 2-minute tripping call on Schauer. Faceoff comes all the way back into the Ryder zone. Junod will leave it aside now for Malamud. Malamud off of Riccolo, who keeps it alive, tries to kick it further. Junod across now to the near side for Fox. Connor Fox out of Belmead. Throws it on goal. Stick save by Lothar. And it'll go out of play. Under 4 minutes to go here in the third period, 29 seconds of 4-on-4.
That'll work out well there for Ryder as far as the stoppage of play and the face-off inside the Penn State zone. It's just if they can win this face-off. They need to start winning more face-offs. Penn State has had them for the most part in this game on that category.
Just like Bracolo did right there as O'Malley tries to steer it aside, but coming on back is Kennedy. Kennedy with it in the corner. Kennedy throws out in front, looking for Junod, goes off a leg. Junod gets it in the corner again, tries to cut out in front. Malamud back behind the cage. Lowler came out to steer it aside. Trying to dive down was Malamud, trips down Winchester, but it comes across now for O'Malley, 3-on-2. Drops it off now for Lasik with a drive, saved by Kolenenko. And he holds on, stopping play. 3:37 left to go in regulation. 7 seconds left to go in the 4-on-4 before Penn State goes in their third power play.
Yeah, and they're going to have a good portion of the remainder of this game on the power play, or the third period, that is. And, it may take Ryder out of, any kind of contention here, being down a man. So we'll have to wait and see how they react with the final time after that, unless Penn State capitalizes on the man advantage.
Not sure what the delay is. Another conference between Zittarelli and the referee. Puck is down, lifted out to center ice, but Penn State now on the power play. They're 1 for 2. This is their third opportunity. But an intercept moving in is Daly, shorthanded with a drive, save, rebound steered away by Winchester. Great opportunity for Ryder, but give credit to the defense on the back check as Daly was forced to take a slap shot instead of a deke. Pass up ahead, far side down for Lewis moving in. Lewis cuts wide, throws it across, intercept, and cleared by Steve Junod. 3:05 left to go. 48 seconds remaining in the power play. Lost it up ahead for Lewis. Lewis with a wrist shot. That goes high and wide. Near side Zittarelli. Zittarelli down for Bracolo. Looking out in front, goes back to Zittarelli instead. Has Starn at the point, gets it to him. Settles it. Cross now for Russo. Brandon Russo. Now for Starn. Kicks it to his stick. One-handed to Zittarelli. Back to Starn. Starn. Drive comes in by Russo. His stick explodes. Comes out in front, but it's pitchforked out to center ice by Junod. Starn with it. Takes his time as O'Malley comes on the ice, but it's intercepted by Junod. Junod one hand to the head, avoids a check, but now it's O'Malley. 10 seconds remaining in the Penn State power play. They want to play this smart. It goes over to Starn. Banked up now, tipped over now for Verlusco, moves in one-on-one. Verlusco tries to toe drag his way out in front, but it's chopped into the corner by the goaltender Kolenenko. Back to even strength. Verlusco, top of the circle, cuts across to the far side. Verlusco battling with Gifford, dumps back behind the cage. 2:05 left to go in regulation. Verlusco out in front. Swing and a miss by Vincent as he tried to shove it home. Verlusco in the corner. Under 2 minutes. Verlusco still looks like a power play as Ryder is desperate here. They even have a cutter deep. That's Grilly.
Yep.
Coming back, though, is Verlusco. Knocked off by Schauer. Correction, that's Dietrich, but helping out is going to be Urban. Urban in the corner. 1:40 left to go. Urban taking his time. This is Verlusco. Now for Urban. Still looks like a power play as Junod tries to control. Left the side down for Vincent. Side of the goal. Back out in front. Trying to cut out and through, but a backhand try goes wide by Urban. Into the corner now. This is Verlusco. 1:20 left. Ryder unable to get out of the zone. Here comes Junod. Junod tries to bank it up ahead. Off a stick. No icing called. Really catches up with it. He battles and cancels with Starn. Coming over to help out is O'Malley. Goaltender still in his cage as Ryder unable to get any pressure on as it's tipped out to center ice. Near side Schauer. 1 minute left. Schauer pushed off a big high hit and possibly an elbow, but the referee lets it go.
How did he miss
Coming out
that?
to center ice, this is a 2-on-1. Here comes Lasik. Lasik goes wide. Lasik backhands out in front, intercepted by Fox. Fox will try to come out. Tipped out to center ice. Taken over, though, and dumped in deep, and we have a penalty coming up, and I believe it's going to be against Ryder. A frustration penalty. And down on the play was Frederick Ling. And that could just about kill the game.
Yeah, an elbowing call coming up here against Connor Fox. And, I mean, you don't want that at this point in the game. And plus, Ryder had already used their timeout, and they couldn't get their tender out. They looked exhausted on that last shift back in their own end. They really couldn't get that change out there that they wanted. And now they're going to try to delay here. But, I don't know if... I don't know if Ryder's got enough here left. They're going to have to pull the goalie once they clear it down the length of the ice.
I think Frank Junod has also been called for a 10-minute misconduct, which is why he's heading to the locker room.
He's upset.
Right off the face-off, shot comes in off the post. But here comes Ryder the other way. We'll see if they still try to pull the goaltender. Far side now, this is going to be Rossi.
Yep, there he goes.
Extra attacker coming on with 22 seconds left. Into the corner. Now 5-on-5. Coming out with it here is Russo. Russo gains the line, lost it into the zone. 15 seconds left. Russo looks he'll get there like they'll get there first, but now coming back is Berger. Steers it aside, pinned to the boards by Bracolo. Thrown out in front, intercepted. Here comes Ryder. Last chance, 5 seconds, goes off a leg. Grilly tries to catch up with it. 3 seconds, 2-1. Coming out with it is the goaltender Lothert, and he'll kill the clock. He goes down after a bit of a touch from Grilly, and most importantly, Penn State comes away with a huge victory. A hard-fought victory, and the reason why we say hard-fought is all 3 goals were workmanlike, and we are looking forward to a fantastic final tomorrow.
And we're highlighting here on the camera, you'll see Lewis, and Lewis was in on all 3 of those goals, as we said. Definitely the player of the game. I'll give him my number 1 star, that's for sure. And,
no doubt in both of our minds.
Oh, yeah. And, just because of him and his work ethic here, Penn State will advance now to take on Virginia Tech, and I think that's going to be a great contest. And if Virginia Tech shows anything like they did earlier on today, like they did up against UMBC, I think this is going to be a low-scoring affair with both goaltenders, Detweiler and Lothert, going toe-to-toe. It's going to be maybe a 2-1, 1-0 game if that,
that would be a lot of fun.
Detweiler with that shutout from earlier, 2-0. So, and then this one, a lot of offensive pressure from that first unit. The first line, with Bracolo and Lewis and Zittarelli, and even them being the first line there on the power play, notching one in. Great work by Penn State, but then again, also got to give a lot of credit there to Ryder. They hung them, they hung in there. They didn't set themselves out. They didn't hang their heads. When they got down 3-1, they came back early on in this third period here, 17 ticks in. But I want to say that Penn State did dominate, most of this period. But Ryder. What a heartbreaking loss for them. They held it together with the number 2 in the Southeast. We'll be going to nationals, and Ryder's going to have to fight for it next week in their next game against Toledo. Or no, I beg your pardon, Bowling Green.
Yeah.
I get Rowan and Ryder mixed up for some reason.
Bowling Green for them,
yeah.
And you know what? We talked about it during the pregame. Ryder is a very dangerous club. They just took the number 2 team in the region. They took them almost just about to the brink. And all it takes is goaltending and a commitment to defense, and that's what Ryder had tonight. And a couple of bounces here, a couple of bounces there. This could have been a different game.
Yep.
And looking forward to seeing Ryder next week in Pennsauken for the regional. That's going to be a lot of fun. But we've got one more game here as IOM Sports Radio and Cross Ice Feed join forces for the good of non-varsity hockey.
Yes. Well, we'll close it out here. We are freezing our butts off here. As
it's very chilly
really cold
in here.
here.
It's not Navesink Country Club cold.
I think it was about 20 degrees when I called the first game there at the Outdoor Classic.
And then the second year, which I called, snowed on us.
Yeah, nice little blizzard.
Then the third game was unseasonably warm. We had to move the time from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. just to get
colder.
And this year was kind of comfortable, so.
That's good. Well, the story is tomorrow morning, 9:45. Tune in here on CrossIceFeed.com for the matchup between Penn State and the Virginia Tech Hokies. 2 big schools.
Very big schools with big fan bases. They have played this year, as Penn State did go down to Roanoke and beat Virginia Tech. I think it was a fairly close game.
Yeah.
Tough place to play for any club, but Penn State did take care of business out there. But this, completely different story, a neutral
ice,
site.
Yep.
And we'll see how that goes tomorrow. Looking forward to a real nice contest.
All right. Well, with that being said, good night, everybody. And Penn State walking away with the Matcha North. And they take it away with a 3-2 victory from Ryder. See you tomorrow morning, everybody. And as always, don't stop believing.